Halloween.
Forever.
Good evening, Stephen.
Hello, Brian.
How's it going? How's it going on this windy winter evening? Is it windy over there? It's windy as a son of a bitch over here.
Yeah, it's fucking windy. Goddamn, 60-degree January.
All of a sudden,
Ugh.
shoots up, been freezing ass cold, snowing, the whole thing. All of a sudden shoots up to like high 50s, and then just gets windy as hell.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, that Brian, if I can tell you some science for a second,
Yeah.
that is the cold front coming in, and that's how you know, because the cold front is pushing all the warm air out of the way.
And it's making it all windy. I knew that was the case. I thought it was maybe Mother Nature had sauerkraut farts or something like that coming out in New Year's or something. I don't know. I got one for you. That wasn't it, although that was very funny, that thing I just said. I got a different one for you. Hate to bring the mood down, Steve, but my grandma actually has tremors.
Oh, no.
Did I tell you that? It's been hard. It's been hard to watch, mostly because she has it on VHS and I only have a Blu-ray player.
Oh.
Welcome, boils and ghouls, to a very windy episode of Halloween is Forever. I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
Because on account of I'm talking about the movie, not the neurological disorder that people have.
It's a subversion.
It's one of them jokes where the words mean two different things. Speaking of Tremors, we are talking about Tremors, but also just some dang old fun old monster movies this week as we kick off. We don't kick off. We're actually in the second week of January, but we're doing our Showdown episode for January, which the topic is, of course, if you've been paying attention for one goddamn second, it's neo monster flicks. So like some fun kind of new age, non-classic archetype monster movies. But of course, before we get into all that, Steve, we got a couple of things we got to do at the top of the show. Is there one or possibly two wet ones that you are thinking about slurping on over there?
Oh, I'm not just thinking about slurping on a wet one. I am slurping on a wet one.
What are you slurping on?
Again, 2026. New year, new me, no gloop glops. Or gloop glop is over. We're done.
Year of the gloop glops behind us. The decade of the gloop glops is behind us.
Yes. Yeah. And so I'm drinking from Coven Brewing. This is their microprocessors. Which is...
All I see is your weird background. What kind of style is it?
Damn filter on the Discord. It is a cream ale, Hersbrucker. It comes in at 4.8%. You can see it's pretty, standard beer looking. Maybe you can see it. Yeah.
Looks a little cloudy for a cream ale.
It is pretty cloudy. So I'm assuming, I think they did mention that there is some oat in here.
Okay.
I think I saw that some damn swears.
They're really playing with the form factor there for the cream ale. Is that what you're saying?
I think so. But maybe I didn't read oat. Maybe I was thinking about something else.
Maybe they just don't know how to make a dang old cream ale over there. Maybe, who knows? Give it a taste. I mean, maybe it's historically accurate cream ale when the beer was oftentimes a present use beer, which is to say it was, cask conditioned, which I know this was in a can, but I'm really giving them the benefit of the doubt here and suggesting that maybe there's a reason why their cream ale is cloudy, but in all likelihood, it's not justifiable. How's it tasting?
It tastes fine. I mean, It's a cream ale. Cream ales are never super impressive in any one way or another. So, yeah.
Well, spoken like a true gloop glopper over there. I am also drinking some little cleaner lagy beers. Actually, I got a couple of lagy beers. The first one I'm drinking is actually from the very same brewery I was drinking from last week that I often drink beer from, Burgers Brewing here in beautiful Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm drinking their Smoke Control, which is their German-style smoked Helles Lager beer, 5.7%. Real nice. I think I might be I might be going on a limb. You might remember this. I think it's a GABF medal winner, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't remember that. Sorry.
Didn't they win a GABF medal for one of their smoked beers?
They might have. It's very possible.
I think they did.
But I don't remember.
Well, in any case, this is a tasty old smoked Helles. And then right on the heels of that, I'm getting ready to sip on an old classic, an old standby, Der Warsteiner Dunkellager beer. It is dunkel season out here. So I'm going to get into that, and here's what I'm planning on doing. For all you who really need to know what's happening, a little inside baseball here. Not only am I watching the classic feature film Blood Tracks, I'm also going to pour this Warsteiner Dunkellager beer on top of the second half of that Smoke Control. So it's almost like a little smoked dunkel, a little paler smoked dunkel, perhaps even an amber colored dunkel beer in my mug. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll keep you up to speed, let you know how it's working.
You making cuvées over there?
I'm doing a little blend. I'm doing a little blending. You know me. I'm a little saucy like that. Okay. Now that we got the slurping of the wet ones out of the way, Steve, couple of things we'll go through pretty quick because we got a lot of movies we got to talk about here. We got our Showdown. And first of all, you might be saying, what the hell's a Showdown? Well, we deliver you some sticky, sweet content on the internet every Monday, as you know. Typically the first Monday of the month. This month it's the second Monday because that's just how it worked out. We do a Showdown episode, and that's where we get a topic. We actually start with 3 of them from our big old spinny ass wheel with a bajillion topics on it. We spin it 3 times. We put those 3 topics on the social medias for our friends and listeners to select from. They vote. This month, they picked Neo Monster Flicks. And then me, Steve, and our collective Patreon community, or sometimes we have a guest on, we'll pick movies associated with that topic. Neo Monster movies is this time around, and I'll talk about which movies we selected here in a hot sec. If you want to get involved with all that nonsense, if you want to do all them doodads and do all those ding dongs and all those votes and all them talking and doing the things on the social medias, follow us. It's at Halloween's Forever. If you want to just send us one of them old fashioned emails, you can do that as well. It's halloweensforeverpod@gmail.com. Before we get into the actual flicks, I'm pretty dang excited because we're getting ready to kick off our next Patreon exclusive podcast series this very month of January in the year of our Lord 2026. Stephen, why don't you tell them good boils and ghouls at home what's going on over in the Patreon?
Yes, log on to patreon.com/HalloweenIsForever. You give us $5 dues and get all the wonderful things that we have to offer. And that includes reviews and recos, access to the Discord so you can watch episodes happen live, and you get monthly exclusive podcasts. And we're going to start a brand new series here in January, here in 2026, called God Is Not Forever, a roadmap to kicking God's dumb ass. Did I get it correct? Did I get it all right, Brian?
It's somewhere. Listen, close enough. We've not trademarked it yet, but I think it is, let's just call it a curated guide to killing God's dumb ass through the majesty of film. I'm just gonna make up a new title for it every week, but that's essentially what it is.
Okay, so log on to patreon.com and give us a $5 dues, and you get all those wonderful things, and you get to listen to like 60 plus hours of extra exclusive content. Mm-hmm. So yes, log it on. Brian, we have one little thing because we're doing our Showdown on an offset.
Yeah,
we do have to spin that dumbass wheel.
Oh boy, you're right. We get a little bonus here on our Showdown this time. We get to spin that dang old wheel. So as Steve brings that thing up, I do also want to, and he's bringing up the old spinny ass wheel. Let me open up my stream so I can watch it spin too. like I said, in the coming weeks, check out on the socials, on Instagram, on I don't know, where else do we do it? On the Blue Sky or on the Threads or something? I don't fucking know where. Check it out on the social medias, or if you give us those $5 a month, which, let me remind you, that is closer to no money than some money. You give us that money, you can also come on the Discord and you will get an extra vote via our Patreon voting channel, voting poll as well. Okay, this will be for, of course, March,
February.
which is the February. Fuck me. I was thinking this was February. We're not at the end. This will be for February. I'm getting ahead of myself. First one is Herschel Gordon Lewis. Some folks refer to such gentleman as the Godfather of Gore. I know, Steve, this has come up at least one other time. It did not make it, and this is one you've been pushing for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was pushing for it pretty hard in the past, and then we did 2000 Maniacs, and I mean, at that point, there's only like two other Herschel Gordon Lewis films that are actually good, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a couple others that are watchable and they're fun, but yeah, we'll see. The audience never seems too big on him, so I'm not holding my breath on this one.
Yeah, I'd be surprised, but who knows? Those weirdos in the in the early year, they might be looking for something a little weird. Okay, next one. Ooh, you know who put this one in there, or if it wasn't me, it was somebody who is definitely playing to my preferences here. We got big top horror. We're talking about anything that features the circus, the carnival, dang old clowns, stuff like that. Maybe there's a clown apocalypse that's happening. Maybe there's a clown NATO that's happening. But we're talking about big, and I'm just trying to spat down, big top horror. All right, that's fun. Give me another dud so we can do big top horror. All right?
Sure.
Come on, give it to me. Give me a dud. What do we got? Third spin.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is going to win. This is going to win. I don't know that for sure, but this seems like a front runner here and a fun one.
Yeah.
Because this is a scenario where we potentially get just dog shit movies that might be fun to talk about. We have Sickest Masks. So we may get some really bad movies that have some really good masks in it. So I don't know. We'll check it out.
I think that plays to my ideas, because I would hopefully like to bring back the Regal Ruckus next month, where we can bring a bunch of guests on, and I think Sickest Masks plays best into that, because we can have a bunch of people spending 15 minutes on why a mask is good, even if the movie is dog shit.
I like that. I like that a lot. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, or you haven't been listening for that long, our Regal Ruckus has almost nothing to do with another event that I've heard tell of called a Royal Rumble. And our Regal Ruckus is totally different, because it's got a bunch of people who fight each other all at once, and there's chaos, and it's definitely not the same at all. But go ahead and vote. We'll see what happens. We'll leave it up to the listeners, as we always do. For February, if you would like to talk about Herschel Gordon Lewis movies, cool on you. If you want to talk about big top horror, that's exceptional. If you'd like to do Sickest Masks, we'll do that too. Go ahead and vote over on the social medias sometime this week. All right, keep an eye out. All right. Any other housekeeping things we can do before we get into these three movies?
Nope. We did beers. We did how the show works. We did Patreon. We did the wheel. We can do the movies now.
Let's do the movies. All right. So like I said, we're doing Neo monster flicks. So Steven is going to talk about just an absolute classic. He's coming in guns a-blazing when it comes to Neo monster flicks. He is talking about the classic 1990 horror adventure comedy extravaganza, which is Tremors. I gave that away at the top of the show with my very funny joke. I am going to talk about a little less known movie, but pretty dang fun as far as I'm concerned. This is a top 10, honestly, probably for me in the horror genre, which might sound wild, but God, I love me some Frank Henenlotter, and this is my favorite Frank Henenlotter film. I'm talking about 1988's Brain Damage. And then our collective Patreon community. Actually, did this come from a particular patron, or is this one where it got thrown out and voted? Who came up with this? I want to give him credit if someone came up with this.
Yeah, so we had our patrons submit, and like we had Pumpkinhead come in from Dan, and we had James who provided us with last
Suckling.
week's film of The Suckling. Well, he's given us another New York classic in C.H.U.D.
Yeah.
And this is I use the spinny wheel to decide things like that as well. And the spinny wheel chose C.H.U.D. from all our patron submissions. So
we are really back in the New York groove here, Steve, the last couple weeks, going from Suckling to C.H.U.D. and then, of course, Brain Damage. Obviously, and also another wonderful New York film. And then you just went completely sent our theme sideways with your dang old desert movie. Probably shot in, actually, I think it's shot in California, but it's set in Nevada,
right?
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's set in Nevada.
Yeah. In what's it called?
Perfection.
Perfection. I was going to say Pleasance. It's not Pleasance. That's Donald Pleasance. That's another guy who's not in any of these movies. Perfection, Nevada. But no, that's not where C.H.U.D. is sent. C.H.U.D, the acronym C.H.U.D, which may or may not stand for a series of things, which we will talk about, from 1984. All of these movies released within a scant 6-year time frame. So we're keeping it pretty tight this time around. Steve, as the reigning champ, from December, from our Secret Satan Showdown, what are you feeling? What would you like to do? Who would you like to go first? What movie would we like to talk about first?
I feel like maybe we could do Tremors last.
Okay.
Just because I feel like that's the most well known of them all.
It definitely is. I would agree with that.
So I can't imagine anybody listening to this show not knowing what Tremors is. But also they would know how good it is. So they don't even need to hear about it. They just go, yeah, Tremors wins.
All right.
So, I'll leave that up to you, Brian, as you like to double present sometimes. Would you like to present 2 movies in a row? Or if not, I can put Tremors in the middle. I don't have...
We can do Tremors last. And then I can sit here and chug beers and listen to you talk about the last one. Okay. I'm going to kick it off with Brain Damage because I think that's the least watched one of the 3. And then we'll talk about C.H.U.D, and then we will talk about Tremors last. So how's that sound?
Sounds good to me.
All right. We are talking first about, like I said, a classic New York fairy tale. Directed by the great Frank Henenlotter. You might be saying, who the hell is Frank Henenlotter? Well, first of all, get your shit together. Director of some of my favorite films, only director of maybe a dozen films total, but most probably well known for the Basket Case franchise, Basket Case 2, and Basket Case 3, The Progeny, which all 3 of which are absolute fucking masterpieces. Frankenhooker, very well known as well, cult classic there. A series of other films, but Bad Biology, a lot of ones people talk about, but Brain Damage is really is my favorite.
Also, just related to what we were just talking about, he directed the documentary of Herschel Gordon Lewis, the Godfather of Gore. So
yes. Yes, he is a exploitation film. I would say, legend as a director, but also an evangelist, I would say, of exploitation horror in a lot of ways as well, and low budget filmmaking also. This movie has a relatively small cast. It stars Rick Hurst, who not in a lot of movies, but if anybody, genre fans would know him, they would know him from this probably. He was in Warlock 3: The End of Innocence, of course, a perennial favorite of all of ours. And then he was in a movie in 2001 called Dead Sexy. Otherwise, not a ton of credits, but I think he puts out a great performance in this movie.
Yeah, not a ton of movie credits. What he's really, truly known for is soap operas. He was
was not aware.
Yeah, he's been in 242 episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful.
Makes sense. He's a damn good looking boy.
Yeah.
Just a handsome boy.
Yeah. And I don't know how this works. So Bold and the Beautiful, he was on from 2002 to 2011, right?
Okay.
General Hospital, he's been on from 2002 to 2025 and is in 723 episodes and plays 2 different characters.
Wow. Yeah, I've never been a soap opera person. I know my mom and my aunts were big into The Bold and the Beautiful back in the 90s, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lot of wacky storylines about amnesia and like all that great shit. And that's really all I know about it. That's all I know about soap operas. But okay, that makes sense that he got into soap. Good for him. Working actor, a damn handsome boy. And if you're good at memorizing lines and you're good looking, you could probably get on the soap operas. It also co-stars Jennifer Lowry, who has been in but one film. I don't know what her TV credits looks like, but she's been in one film, and that film is Brain Damage. That's probably okay that she just did that one film. I don't think she necessarily missed her calling. And then we have a guy who plays Brian's brother, Mike, Gordon MacDonald. He was in a few films. Drive Away Dolls as recently as 2024. So he's still out there. He's still doing it. And then there's a few others. I would say the person who steals the show in this movie is the voice of the episode's titular Neo monster, Aylmer, which if you know this movie, you know who that is. That monster is voiced by the great John Zachary, who of course is he's famous for the character of Zachary, which was one of the very first, if not the first, widely known television horror host. So if you know anything about, if you're a big fan, speaking of horror host tonight, Joe Bob Briggs is on tonight. So horror hosting might be on some of your minds out there. Zachary, known for kind of being the godfather in a lot of ways of, hosting the shock theaters and those types of, weekly horror programming blocks, especially on a lot of local television stations. And boy, is such a brilliant pick for the voice of Aylmer. It makes the movie. We'll talk quite a bit about it as we get into it. I did do a I like to come up with alternate titles for these movies. This one I put in my notes: Brain Damage, 1988, aka Aylmer, the fentanyl worm, the fanciest worm, He is a weird alien parasite / predatory worm that gives people fentanyl in their brain, basically hallucinogenics in some capacity.
Yeah. It's interesting because like the IMDb trivia says Henenlotter like kind of wrote and made this film after he got clean from cocaine, but the presentation of Aylmer and the way he causes euphoria and the way it's like a needle that goes into a used hole is very much like heroin coated.
It's very heroin coated. Yep, for sure. It reeks of opiates and specifically intravenous drugs. We'll get a little bit deeper into it here in a hot second. We get started off in a very confusing note. I will say right off the bat, this movie, although I love it, is just a very surface level drug allegory. There's not a lot of mystery involved. You get a feeling, pretty early on what's going on and what Aylmer does for his victims and all that sort of thing. But the depths they take it to, the weird practical effects, the weird performance of Zachary, all these things wrap up to a really, really fun, bizarre, subversive and fucking strange, trippy horror movie. So we get started out with these two old people who are just very, pleased with the fact that they are feeding something that assumedly lives in their bathtub brains, like calf brains, right? And they come home from this like specialty butcher and they've got these raw calf brains and they're very pleased that they were able to find them. And this whoever they're going to give them to really is going to like them. Then they go into their bathroom where, of course, the bathtub is full of water, but there's nothing in the bathtub and they start losing their goddamn minds, screaming, crying. They are inconsolable. Meanwhile, we get introduced to Brian. Brian lives with his brother Mike in an apartment in New York City. Brian is feeling kind of sleepy, kind of sick. The old folks barge into some of their neighbor's house looking for something, demanding to see people's bathtubs. Everyone's very confused and we don't know why this is the case.
One of the one neighbor that we get featured in this is played by Beverly Bonner. And she, like, I think most people remember her mostly from Basket Case, but she is kind of a stalwart Henenlotter hire. As she appears in Basket Case, this movie, Basket Case 2, Frankenhooker, and she's mostly playing a character named Casey. But she appears in almost all of his well-known films.
Yeah, and the Frank Henenlotter extended cinematic universe, I like to believe, all takes place in the same shitty apartment building or on the same block, perhaps. And I like to believe that this is the same character from Basket Case and from Frankenhooker.
Yeah,
that could be very, very much true because this is the only time we really see her. So Brian gets called by Barbara, his girlfriend. She's like, we got to go soon. Get ready. Get out of bed. He's like, I'm not feeling so good. They have tickets to a concert. Mike agrees to take her to the concert instead. And Brian stays home and sleeps off whatever, illness or something like that he's dealing with. Meanwhile, we get cut to that old couple, and they are literally at this point laying on the floor of their apartment, foaming at the mouth. So shit do not be good for that old couple. They're very charming elderly couple. So you're like, what the hell is going on with them that would cause them to be, foaming at the mouth and experiencing what looks like some sort of withdrawal symptoms. Brian wakes up and there's blood on the back of his head. Or specifically on his kind of the nape of his neck. And he's feeling kind of good, kind of weird. And he's just kind of confused by the whole thing. He thinks maybe it was because he wasn't feeling, he's maybe feeling sick. He's not really sure. Then all of a sudden the ceiling, he's got one of them ceiling titties, one of them lights up on the ceiling. That ceiling titty becomes an eyeball and he starts tripping. And all of a sudden the whole room starts being flooded with this
toilet duck.
I was going to say with mini golf pond water, but yeah, it's same vibe.
Yeah, same.
This like super bright blue artificial liquid, right? Artificially colored looking water. And he just starts straight vibing. I love the music in this film. It goes a long way to like demonstrating the shift in from like anxiety or whatever it is to like euphoria that Brian is feeling in this instance. And this happens multiple times throughout the movie. And he's just literally, it comes up, covers his face, and he is just floating in, this tranquil, weird, glowing blue water. When he starts to come down, there is this wound in the back of his neck, and the bathtub is full. And he's like, what's going on here? All of a sudden, you just see this creature pop out and go, hi. And it's this, it looks like a dark blue and black, I'm going to say tapered off turd. Like you squeezed it off. It looks like a big old giant blue tinted dark turd.
It is at both times turd and worm.
Yeah.
Because
it's a turd slug.
Yeah. Because they were trying to like push forth this idea, like on top of its head, it has like kind of these crags and knots in it. So it kind of looks like a brain. Like there's a lot of brain imagery all throughout the film.
Yep.
But it just kind of comes off looking like a turd. So
yeah, yeah, it looks like a brain turd. How dark it is really hammers home the turd vibe. Anyway, he's like, "Who are you? What are you doing? What's happening to me?" And Aylmer proceeds to say, "This is the start of your new life, Brian." And I just want to say he's constantly referring to Brian by his name because he's trying to ingratiate himself to Brian. This is what's happening, Brian. And I just want to say this is how my name sounds in my own head. It's Aylmer's voice when I say my own name in my head.
I had a feeling that there was a lot of narcissism in this pick, just because this movie does two things to an extreme. Yeah. It says the name Brian, and then also just screaming. Like, screaming isn't...
like Macaulay Culkin splashing the aftershave on his face screaming.
Yeah, like, the screaming isn't new for Frankenhenlotter because, like, Basket Case is nothing but screaming as well. But, yeah, because that's the way... what's the monster's name in Basket Case? It's like... Beelzebub, Bethesda.
No, it's
Bezael.
No. Hold on, it's on the tip of my tongue. Belial. There you go.
Belial. Yep. I'll get there. But yeah, like Belial communicates in screaming, and then everybody he kills is screaming.
His is more like
Yeah. But I mean, it's still screaming, and that's
still
just
screaming.
Like,
sure.
Like that's how Frankenhenlotter knows how to communicate. He just communicates and screams most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I will say, although I love the way he says Brian, every time I watch this movie, I've seen this movie a dozen times. Every time I watch it, I forget that his name is Brian, and then I'm pleasantly surprised, or I'm like pleasantly like, oh yeah, I forgot he says Brian a bunch of times. Yeah, it's Zacherley's voice that really makes this uncanny, weird vibe of this little talk, because he also has these little beady eyes that are really close together. He's got this big, wide, grinning mouth, and it's a little puppet, right? So it's someone manning this little puppet, and Zacherley's voice coming, which is this almost could imagine him like narrating a Rankin Bass Christmas special. Like he's just very wholesome sounding and grandfatherly almost, you know what I mean? In the way he talks. But then when he goes wild, he goes wild. So, but this is how we're introduced to Aylmer. And basically he says like, your life's going to be awesome now. And he just keeps saying like cryptic things like, listen to the light, Brian. You needn't worry about anything ever again. Trust me. Like that's how he talks to Brian. Now Brian has just had this like euphoric experience that he is like eager to experience again. And then you have this little creature telling you everything's going to be all right. And your life's going to be devoid of any unhappiness forever and all this stuff. Right. Also the way he moves, like he's that little space slug turd thing with a face, and he kind of like weaves back and forth. He reminds me of like a creature from do you remember what are the little, I don't know, I guess they're eels or something like that in like the like Mario 64 and so like Mario games, you know, like the 3D area Mario games, these weird little eels that just move back and forth in this kind of weird rhythmic pattern. He reminds me of that a lot. And he says, take me for a walk, Brian. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
And you start to get this like look of what happens when he injects the what they call the juice, which is this blue, like, again, it looks like toilet bowl cleaner, or it looks like the water in a pond at a mini golf course. He opens up his mouth really wide. You see that he has all these weird, pointy, almost needle-like teeth or other and other appendages in his mouth. And then he has like a little proboscis type of thing that he like extends out of his throat and sticks into the hole in the back of Brian's neck. And then we get this really gross shot of that thing going through, his like near his spinal column, assumedly up his spinal column, and then just pissing little bits of the blue goo onto the surface of Brian's brain. And the blue juice is what gives Brian this euphoric feeling. So you see that like toxin or whatever it is being released onto Brian's brain at various degrees throughout the movie. So this is a recurring shot that you see. So Mike and Barb come back. They seem to have been having a good time at the show. And Barb is pretty bummed because Brian's not there. And they're like, well, wait, he was too sick to take me to the show, but now he's not there. Cut to Brian running around town, tripping balls, just having a fucking blast in a junkyard. Like, he's just looking at a bunch of like crushed cars, like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. Like, he's just screaming and freaking out about how he just keeps going, oh my God, wow. This is fucking great. Just screaming at these cars. And then we see it through Brian's eyes, and the cars are like glowing different like neon colors, and he's seeing like all these fractals in the broken windshield and all this stuff, right? He's just kind of generally just like tripping balls. This junkyard has a psycho security guard that is in full rented cop uniform and has a gun, which I love. He stands up with like clean pressed cop uniform on and just walks out into the junkyard with a gun when he hears Brian freaking out. We get this over and over. This is how Aylmer deals with most of his victims. He just rides Brian around, and then when the time is right, launches himself into their forehead, burrows through their skull, and sucks out their brains. But for the audience, it just looks like the weird turd thing attached face first to their forehead, flopping around, just flailing from their forehead.
Yeah, I couldn't find, or at least I didn't. I mean, I don't know that I looked hard enough, but the creature effect is cool because even though it is like a little turd, I think it is like they took like one of those kind of old school dildos, like the ones that just like spun in
that
circles,
flop around.
Yeah. They just spin in circles. They don't actually do anything proper, and they, just put what they modeled over top of it. And so like now, like when Brian picks it up, it spins around at the tail. And when this guy has it on his head, and a couple other guys, when they have it on its head, like the tail just spins, and it looks like it kind of looks like one of those old goofy dildos that does that.
Yeah, one of the ones that was like equally as much like erotic toy as it was like party favorite, like silly thing to bring to a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So he is all juiced up from Aylmer, so he doesn't really, he's not even noticing what happens. He doesn't know anybody was killed or anything. He goes back, and then we cut forward, like, I don't know, we're gonna say a couple of weeks, right? And Brian has put a bunch of locks on his bedroom door. He's put a bunch of locks on the bathroom door, and he either just sleeps, hangs out in his bedroom. He's got a bunch of buckets of water in his bedroom, or he's in the bathtub with the door locked. And Mike's getting real worried at this point, but he's not answering the phone. Barb comes over, and Mike explains like what he's been doing. We have this one scene of Brian just having a blast with Aylmer in the tub, just like, woo, just like partying with Aylmer in the tub. While they're out there like, what is he fucking doing in there? Brian and Barb go out to dinner to like discuss their relationship. Brian's acting real strung out, obviously. And he explains, essentially, he's the worst at explaining anything to Barb. He's just like, explains like, listen, you got to understand. My brain's changed. I can smell colors now. Like, he just is here saying wild shit like that. And she's just like, I don't understand. Meanwhile, Barb desperately always needs to brush her hair. Like, she always looks like kind of like a bag lady because her hair is just knotted like outrageously so. It's just a funny decision for the performer.
Knotted and dry is her hair a lot. I don't know if that's just because Hannah and Lauder was like, we don't have the budget for hair and makeup. But yeah,
it's tough. She doesn't say much. I mean, yeah, it's a tough performance, but listen, she gets the job done. He's gonna tell Barb about Aylmer, but Aylmer like is basically like fucking with his brain and like kind of Aylmer is on his person. We were meant to believe, by the way. He's always like on him unless he's in the bathtub. So he's somewhere under his clothes, right? Mm-hmm. He gives him a little poke and says like, don't talk about me. And he's like, he doesn't want me to talk about him, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. So this is how this conversation's going. He makes Brian start hallucinating in very Freddy fashion that the meatballs on his plate of spaghetti are like pulsing brains, which is a cool little effect they do. And eventually he just gets freaked out and bails and leaves Barbara there. So she's like, obviously things are going even worse for her. We get a lot of great New York street shots in this movie as well, which is something you love to see from a Hannah and Lauder movie. So he gets out, bails, goes walking down the street. Aylmer gives him some juice, and he kind of cools his jets a little bit. And that just shows like how hooked he already is on this, this drug allegory is going in the direction you would expect it to go. Brian, in his euphoric, wandering around New York vibe, he ends up at this dance club, this like weird, like new wavy dance club.
Yeah.
And the band, by the way, in case somebody's, because they're actually good. I really like the song that they're playing in this too. They're called the Swimming Pool Cues. Like pool cues,
but swimming pool. Yeah.
Swimming pool cues.
Yeah.
They're like this new wave post-punk band, and that's like the vibe of the bar he's in. And he meets this like, kind of punkish girl. She's wearing like leather, whatever. And she's like, he's acting all wild. She's digging him. And they go out to the alley and they're like aggressively making out. She starts grabbing on his crotch and she puts the line out there, feels like he got a real monster in there. Haha. That's a joke because he does. Because she's feeling, assumedly, Aylmer in his pants. She decides, because this is a sketchy club and he ran into somebody, she just is like, listen, we're just going to do this right here. She goes down like she's going to blow him. And Aylmer gives her a real howdy partner and launches. She's pulling his, assumedly his penis out of his fly. And instead it's Aylmer. Aylmer launches down her throat. And then we get an extended, uncomfortable, very Frank Lauder, very Stuart Gordon scene of it very much looks like she's giving him a blowjob. He's got like hands on the back of her head, but instead it's Aylmer like eating her brains basically through her mouth. So a real Hannah and Lauder type of shot here. Classic shot.
Yeah, it is just it goes too far. Not for me, and like I'm full of bad taste and whatever, but apparently this scene specifically, because they have a close-up shot of Aylmer out of his zipper and in her in her mouth, and it is just super aggressive, and apparently this got a lot of people to walk off set.
Yeah,
and I assume this movie was like being screened at New Line for distribution.
Mhm.
And I assume this is also what got them to say, absolutely not, dude. No way. We're not putting this out under New Line Cinemas.
Yeah, this is a thing that very few directors are going to push for. And Frank Henenlotter is one of those directors. He is an absolute sleazebag, and he's going to push for this. This is the type of sleaze you expect from Frank Henenlotter, the type of envelope pushing, make 90% of people very uncomfortable. This is a scene like no one else would do but Frank Henenlotter. And listen, it's a horrible taste, unpleasant in its sexual violence, but you just gotta like, listen, this is what you're in for with a Frank Henenlotter film, like across the board. You can just expect something like this is going to happen multiple times. He goes back home. He stumbles back home. He of course doesn't know what happened because he was, on the juice. The old guy from the beginning confronts Brian in the alleyway out by his apartment and has essentially a long prepared speech about Aylmer and how to control him. And he's talking about the Crusades and Matteo Grimaldi and 1699 and Portuguese admirals. And basically how like, that's how he went through. He's an ancient creature through that, that survived through the ages and been passed from person to person and blah, 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 blah. And he belongs to me now. And you got to give him back to me. And he's basically like, go fuck yourself, old man.
It's so funny. He has like this long prepared, like litany of historical figures. And, and the assumption is that like Aylmer's, ability to generate euphoria and violence, it carried all these people to great things. But now it's just like this dumpy old guy living in a rent control in New York. Like, yeah. just like these two shitty old people. Like they did have an apartment full of art. So it felt like they were higher class, like rich people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's just so funny that they're just basically junky losers in a back alley fighting right now.
Yeah, you get the vibe that it was like one of those things that like he had an inflated sense of himself because he perhaps was you get this professorial type of vibe from the old guy, but that he has fallen so far because he has been, his number one priority in life has been keeping Aylmer, and keeping him weak and controlling him so they could get their fix from him, basically, right? Anyway, Brian just talks to everyone now like they know everything that's happening in his head. Like the entire time he's just like, hey, it's too late. I got the juice and he wants the brains. And that's just how he talks to everybody now.
Who wants the brains, Brian? No, don't worry about it. It's just that's the thing. He wants the brains. I got to get him the brains. And that's what we're going to do. So, hey, don't worry about me. Take off. It's fine. I got my own thing going.
Yeah. They go and check in what's my favorite scene in the movie. They check in at the Sunshine Hotel, which is essentially this like flop house, pay by the hour motel. And he puts Aylmer in the sink and he's like, I'm going to show Aylmer who's boss. I'm in control now, not you, blah, blah, blah. And Aylmer is like, nice room, Brian, real classy place. Like he immediately kind of changes tone and starts like taunting him. And he explains basically that he sucked out that girl's brain very casually. It's like, of course I ate her brains. Like, and now Brian's kind of starting to freak out. And then this is where all the like really intense psychological manipulation starts. And Aylmer doing that with this very casual tone in an otherwise very goofy scene is like the most memorable part to me. This like, and it gets more intense. He's like, you're mine now, Brian. I own you. And Brian throws a lamp at him and he just like very quickly dodges it by moving to the side.
This is a good puppet effect. Just because
it really is.
it's in a sink, and the sink is like it's one of those sinks that doesn't have like cabinetry under it. So it's kind of like, where are they hiding the the whoever the puppeteer is? Where is the puppeteer hiding in this? So yeah, it's a good effect. I like this. But yeah, this is also a very good scene. I think if they cut this scene out and showed it to like classrooms about like, this is what drugs are like, don't do that dumbass fried egg allegory thing. Show us this. Show a guy like pulling his brains out of his brain and losing his ear, and like how the drugs will talk to you and just go, "Uh-oh, Brian, looks like you're in trouble." That's my favorite. That's also my favorite Aylmer delivery in this scene here, is where he just goes, "Uh-oh, Brian."
He's just like fucking with him so hard. He's just trolling him from the sink. Because he's like, I don't need you or whatever. And he's like, you need me because you need me to get you brains. And he's like, well, let's see who gives in first. Let's have a little competition, and that's what they do. They sit there and like for the next however many hours, Brian's just suffering from withdrawals and Aylmer's just sitting there taunting him. At one point, he's like barfing and crying, and Aylmer is just in his ear, just literally singing show tunes. They have this he has this, what you don't realize is like a flop dream, but it's pretty quickly revealed that he's pulling a bunch of shit out of his ear. And it's just a long string of I don't know, looks like whatever, some sort of weird, gristly, bloody something out of his ears. Before then, just gallons of blood explode out for 12 interrupted seconds out of the side of his head. It's like that scene in How High where the little Asian roommate just pukes. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It's like that, but coming out of the side of his head, and Brian's just doing that sustained screaming thing. Meanwhile, Aylmer is just cackling and dancing and taunting him. Brian starts to do the foam at the mouth thing. And like I said, he's singing. Aylmer starts singing this song called Aylmer's Tune, which I forgot. I know I've looked this up before and I've forgotten the story, but there's a story behind Aylmer's Tune. I think it might he put it was like a real show tune that then he put the name Aylmer into. I forget. He
does his own little Weird Al parody in which he inserts himself into a real show tune. But I can't place the tune.
Yeah. And then Brian is basically just breaks down, weeping, begging, no, I need the juice. I give in. And meanwhile, Elmer's just still singing, just taunting him, I could have went a lot longer kind of thing. But he does agree to give it to him. And then Brian, after he gets a little bit of the juice, he goes into the shower. There's a communal shower room in this flop house. And there's just some big jacked guy in there. And then it's a weird scene. There's this big jack guy in there. Brian's feeling very he looks like a junkie. He's all strung out and pale and everything. Meanwhile, there's another guy on the toilet, and Aylmer eats his brain on the toilet. And there's a scene of literally just blood pissing all over the place for again 10, 15 interrupted seconds. Just gallons and gallons of blood everywhere.
It's such a great shot that they have the guy in the toilet with the Aylmer on his head and everything, but the shot that is from atop the toilet stall just showing blood shooting out the top, because it is total lawn sprinkler. You can just tell somebody is just below frame of camera in the toilet. Just having the fucking time of their life, fucking spraying just all over the fucking place. It looks
hilarious. Like somebody has two of those little like cheap squeeze bottles you get for like putting like olive oil and like stuff in at like a restaurant, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And he's just squeezing them and shooting blood all over the place. Meanwhile, Brian, heads back home, collapses. His brother and Barb come in, and they've been spending a lot of time together because, of course, Brian is not really paying much attention to his girlfriend. Meanwhile, Mike, the brother, and Barb start making out really aggressively. And then all of a sudden the clothes are off and they're on the bed. They start banging. And Brian is just laying there listening to them bang like a weirdo. And then you see this thing come up under his blankets, and it's a boner joke. But of course, it's not his boner. It's Aylmer. And he gives Brian a little bit of juice. And Brian immediately starts dreaming about double teaming Barb with his brother and eating her brains like through her forehead while banging her. It's pretty fucked up.
Somehow still not as graphic as
no, definitely not.
The alleyway blowjob. Still not as graphic.
Yes.
Like it's weird.
Yeah, that takes the cake. That takes the cake in this movie. They wake up, in bed together after their post-coitus nap, I guess. And Brian's just staring at them. And they're like, what? And at one point, Barb goes, this isn't what it looks like. You're like, or no, maybe Mike says that, but it's like, yeah, it's exactly what it looks like.
No, it's worse because like Barb is the first one to notice him, and she just like treats it like that nothing is happening at all. Mm-hmm. And she just kind of is like, oh, where have you been? Like she's asking him innocuous questions. And then Mike is like, oh, like Mike wakes up and he goes, it's not what you think. It's like, we're not even addressing that.
And I mean, to Barb's credit, Brian really doesn't either. He's just like, listen, you guys got to get out of here. Like he's going to need some brains, and you guys, I don't want them to eat your brains, and he's going to kill. I don't want people to die, but they are going to die. And they're just looking at him, of course, like he's insane. Then they get this scene, which is by far the stupidest scene in the movie. And I've always hated this scene. I don't know, not hated it, just been like, oh, it's so dumb, but it's on par, right, with I think the rest of the movie in terms of just like it doesn't care that it's dumb. But they're on the subway talking, and Barb's like, what's going on, our relationship and this and that, we have all these problems. And she keeps looking away from him, and every time he looks away, Brian turns his head towards her quickly, and Aylmer like flashes out of his mouth like a tongue and like flops around. And then right when she looks back, he turns his head back and closes his mouth, and Aylmer goes back in. And it is so contradictory to the way Aylmer looks or moves in the entire rest of the movie that it just doesn't, like, the bit does not land at all. It just feels bizarre and out of place.
It feels more like Henenlotter wanted to do a Looney Tune bit, because that's what this is. This is a Looney Tune bit.
Yeah.
What is? I believe it's Bugs and Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, where like he'll be walking around with Dr. Jekyll, and like when Bugs turns his back, Mr. Hyde's there, and then yeah. Like it feels like they're doing that bit on the train. So yeah, he's just like, I just want to do a silly bit. I don't care.
That's fine. Whatever. Yeah. But it doesn't land at all. And it's always been my least favorite part of the movie. But
because he's also doing another silly bit in this scene as well.
Yeah.
Because, Barb and they get on the train and they're sitting down, and then a bunch of other passengers get on the train, and one of them is the star of Basket Case carrying a basket. Yeah. And
it's Dwayne. It is literally Dwayne from Basket Case with the same outfit, everything. He does have a wig on.
Yes.
Like it's clearly a wig. And that's because I've heard this before. I think the guy, I forget the actor's name, but that plays him, showed up to set with like a buzz cut. Mm-hmm. And Frank Henenlotter, because I think I've heard Frank Henenlotter talk about this before, where he was like furious because he showed up with like a buzz cut, and he had to get him this wig. But yeah, so he's sitting there staring at them. So yeah, he's doing multiple bits, and that part didn't need to be the weird Aylmer coming out of the mouth. It just like it didn't need to be there. But it's also one of the things that just makes this movie so like it's just so batshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the decision, it just feels like a cocaine decision.
Even though supposedly he was clean for this movie, but he's it just feels like a silly decision to make.
He was 80s New York clean, which is like California sober kind of, but you still do all the coke you want.
I'm wondering because like I was reading, apparently like the original cut of this film was only 66 minutes. And I'm wondering if this was one of the scenes that was put in later to fill things out. Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah, Barb finally gets got because they start making out, and as expected, you don't see it, but you hear a lot of gurgling and stuff, and of course you just saw Aylmer coming out of his mouth. Aylmer goes into her body through his, as they're locked mouth to mouth making out, and eats her brains. And then eventually he lays her down on the subway, bench with blood on her mouth. And everyone just looks around like they're just not plussed at all. Nonplussed by the whole thing. So the old couple, he gets back home. The old couple holds Brian at gunpoint. Seems like the most on character like firearm though too. It's an old Luger he's holding him up with.
I mean, he spent a lot of time talking about Aylmer being in Berlin during the 40s, 30s and 40s. So like, I guess the assumption is that like Hitler was all juiced up on Aylmer. So I assume if this guy is like a professor, I'm now assuming he's an Indiana Jones type. Yep. And he was in Berlin and discovered Aylmer and brought him home to the States and just turned into a junkie instead of, a Nazi fighter.
It's just one of those silly little, decisions that's like, it just kind of deepens the character a little bit. But they go on, he takes his shirt off. They pull his shirt up. They find Aylmer on his back. And they're like, it's, we got him, and Aylmer immediately starts eating the old lady's brains because he's stronger now. Because, of course, Brian's been feeding him lots of brains, fresh brains, right? Not animal brains, but people brains. The old guy goes for him, drops his gun. Brian gets a hold of the gun, and Aylmer starts eating, the old man's brains too now. Aylmer eventually is like, I'm not finished, Brian, blah, blah, blah. Like, and he's like, just, I'm going to be sick. And he's like, all right, put me on your neck. I'll give you a little bit of juice. And as soon as he does, the old guy is apparently not dead, despite having part of his brain eaten, jumps up as Aylmer is injecting Brian with some juice. He squeezes Aylmer. And then we get that shot inside his, head, and just all of the juice, just like copious amounts of the blue juice is just coating the surface of Brian's brain. Like, they do a really good job of communicating like, oh no, he's overdosing on Aylmer juice right now. Yeah.
Because there's also like a bunch of lightning firing in his head now. Like, oh boy, that's a bit much. But he's basically squeezing him like a snake when you're like getting anti-venom out. You're extracting venom to get the anti-venom. Yeah. He's just like squeezing him all over his brain. It's fucking great.
It's a wild scene. And you see Aylmer's little eyes are like bulging out, and the old guy finally dies and does such a great death scene. He like flops backwards, he's an old guy. Smashes against like a brick wall, like a corner, and then like slowly slides down the wall as his like coat pulls up. It's such a great death. He didn't need to be doing all that, and he did, and it made the scene all that much better. Aylmer is flopping around, and he finally stops moving. Assumedly, he's dead. Meanwhile, Brian's brain is like bulging and going bonkers. They have this like bladder effect on the outside of his, that's, on his forehead now. So it's like bulging. Brian busts into the apartment, screaming, bulging juice head, just goes wild, locks himself in his room. And by this point, a crowd has formed outside of like cops and neighbors and Mike and all of them. And you see him, he's got the gun, the Luger. He goes, points it at his forehead, and then you go to cut outside, you hear the blast, and you assume he shot himself. And you would be right to assume that. But when the cops and Mike bust in his bedroom door, he has this giant gaping hole, like it's been like his skull's been shattered, but there's no blood. And there's just like this intense white light and this like sparking crazy hole in his head. Like his head is half off and there's just bright glowing white light shooting out of it.
He turns his head into the fucking Luxor in Las Vegas.
Yeah, there's lightning flying around, all this shit, and that's the end. And that is the right ending, by the way, too.
I don't know if it's the right ending. It's
the correct ending, Steve. Do not. I do not have the patience to hear you question this ending.
I'm going to question it just because I'm not saying it's a wrong ending. I don't know that it's the right ending because
how fucking dare you?
Look, I don't have another option. I'm just saying It's very funny that this is very much a anti-drug film, but the ending is that if you do enough drugs, you will learn the secrets of the universe and your head will explode with all the knowledge of the cosmos.
Steve, that's why there is we've talked about before, there are certain movies that make you want to drink beer. I always say like the scene in Django Unchained with Christoph Waltz pouring in the beer in the pub, or the World's End with Simon Pegg and all that. Those are movies that just make you want to drink beer. This movie makes me want to do drugs so much.
Yeah.
And I have done drugs to this movie many times, and it's so fun. I love that Frank Henenlotter made an anti-drug movie that makes you want to do drugs so much. And I think that's awesome.
I mean, they definitely seem like they rule, but also there is the moral message of, but you're going to hurt everybody in your life, and you're going to If you're coming to a Frank
Henenlotter movie for a moral message, you are misguided already.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm not saying it's a wrong ending, because it's a Frank Henenlotter movie. Like if this was anybody else's movie, it's the wrong ending. But it's not the right ending. I don't know. I just don't know how I feel. I don't know how I feel about it. I know it's a Frank Henenlotter movie. It's just a wild decision to go through all this and then say, yeah, but I mean, if you do enough.
That is the reason why this movie rules. You just summarized my argument for why this movie rules better than I ever could have. And that's it. That is Brain Damage. I love it. I've watched it. Like I said, I've seen it at least a dozen times. I will see it another dozen times at least. This movie, I think I mentioned even last week when I mentioned this was going to be my movie. This one, along with Pieces and a handful of other movies, The Boxer's Omen, right? These are movies. Now, perhaps Final Flesh are movies that I will show as many people as I possibly can for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to jump right into C.H.U.D?
Yeah, I'm good with jumping into C.H.U.D.
All right, let's jump into some C.H.U.D. This is from 1984. C.H.U.D is illustrated, spelled out, on the posters and in everything as an acronym, although we don't know what that acronym is yet. It's just C.H.U.D. Starts out with a woman and, again, another grimy New York scene. I actually don't know if this was shot in New York. I get the feeling it wasn't. Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
walking down this like cobblestone back street, and this woman and her dog, someone is hotboxing the sewer because there is what appears to supposed to be steam, but is clearly smoke coming out of the sewer. And this lady gets chudded. It's just something jumps up with some scary claws out of the sewer and gets her dog.
It's probably one of the fastest starts to a film that I can think of. Like there was another film I was entertaining doing on this episode called Brain Scan, and I started watching it right after I watched C.H.U.D, and Brain Scan starts so fucking slow, and I was just like, this can't stand up. I'm not gonna win with this.
It's gonna be hard to stand up to C.H.U.D, with the fast start and the pacing of really all three of these movies. Like are just they move, boy, they move.
Yeah. If they're not, I found myself really disliking some things about C.H.U.D that I didn't remember the first time I had seen it. I don't know, something about this movie wasn't sitting right with me all the way through, but like there's still some good stuff.
It's interesting. I actually like C.H.U.D more, I feel like, every time I watch it. And I've probably seen it like probably at least four times, if not more. Like I've seen this movie a lot, and I feel like there's things about it I like more every time. But I don't know. We'll get into it, namely the performances. But
the performances are top notch. I think that's just what bothers me, is that like everybody in this movie is so good that the stuff that's around it fails it. And it's like, oh man,
there are some big misses. Like the climactic scene, there's some big misses.
Yeah.
But anyway, I also like the creature design, even though it should be one creature and not a bunch of them. Because they all wear the same clothes and they look like a video game character that's just like the same character over and over again. Right. Because we learn that they're different people. Why do they all have the same clothes on? I don't know. Anyway, so this scene where the guy's like walking down the street, and it's just like the neighborhood gives me like Tenafly vibes. Like I feel like I'm in street trash. But that's New Jersey, not New York, but it's given me similar vibes. We have, let me bring up the names here, because we have one Mr. McAllister as one of the stars of this movie. George Cooper is the character's name, played by the great John Hurd, who is most known by far. His biggest credit is
Peter McAllister in the Home Alone movies.
I couldn't remember the first name.
Yeah.
Peter McAllister from the Home Alone movies. He was also in Big. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but that is by far the Home Alone movies. He's the dad from Home Alone.
He was also in Cat People before this, which I assume is what led him to get this film.
Yeah. Yep. And he is a photographer. And I also do like to believe that this is part of the Home Alone cinematic universe. Like this is just before, because in Home Alone 2, of course, we learn that Peter's brother lives in New York. Of course, Home Alone 2 set in New York. I like to believe that Peter and his family grew up in New York and then moved to Chicago for work. And then that's when he met Catherine O'Hare's character, and they had all those redheaded children. But at this point, he is dating a woman named Lauren, who is played by Kim Greist, who's in a lot of things, including, I don't know how much of a big character she plays because I don't remember her from it, but she's in Brazil, which is another really fucking weird movie I love.
Yeah.
I remember, well, no, maybe I don't remember her from this. Well, yeah, she's in Manhunter.
Yeah,
as well,
she's
when I went
Will
down
Graham's,
my Michael Mann.
Yeah, she's Will Graham's wife in Manhunter. She's also in an episode of Diagnosis Murder.
Well, there you go. It's full circle.
Always got to put that in when you find it.
Yeah, the amount of if you're in what's the other one? Not Matlock. What's the other one you're into? Columbo. That's right.
There's less horror crossover with Columbo. Diagnosis Murder has so many, like, because they just employed so many character actors for one-offs.
Sure.
that there are so many horror connections in Diagnosis Murder. I don't know. It's great.
I believe that.
It's a great show.
I could see that. Lauren is his girlfriend, and also she's a model, or inspiring model. People are seeing weird stuff around the neighborhood, right? So there's some weird vibes around the neighborhood. And we get introduced to, I think it's Sergeant, but Bosch.
Captain Bosch.
Captain Bosch, that's right. Bosch has orders from the chief to kind of keep the lid on a series of disappearances that's happening around like a couple of block radius. He doesn't know why. It's just like let's keep this out of the media. Let's not talk about this. And Bosch is like, okay, fine. We get introduced to a character named Murphy, who is like a reporter around. What's that?
No, I was just gonna say Murphy's fucking funny just because he
is a wild character.
He is dressed like he hasn't changed his clothes since 1968. It is like 1984. Like everything is dated, but for whatever reason, Murphy's dated.
Yeah, Murphy is actually seems like a character from straight out of Street Trash. Like he just feels like he's like, why would it? Now this movie is just dirty. Everyone just looks dirty in this movie. And Murphy, when I came to learn, I remember the first time I saw it, that he was a reporter. I was like, are you sure about that? Sure. He just looks like one of the homeless people. Yeah. Like the other homeless people around town. He's got like long, greasy hair.
Yeah. The separation between homeless and not homeless is so slight in
perilously thin.
Yeah, 1980s New York. You could not tell. Like you could only tell some of the homeless because their faces are actively dirty, but everybody's kind of dirty.
Everybody's pretty dirty. So they go to this like perfume shoot where he's the photographer, she's the model, and they're making her do all these like scantily clad shots. He's getting all jealous. He ends up just bailing. He gets a phone call and he bails. And he's like, oh shit. She's like, well, what a dick. Like he just left me, right? We don't know where he's going yet, but we do get introduced to what they call Reverend AJ Shepard, who is Daniel Stern's character, who, listen, I love me some Daniel Stern. And he acts his absolute balls off in this movie. He is, first of all, I think we've talked about this before. Daniel Stern is like a classically trained, like Shakespearean actor. Like he did like Shakespeare in the Park and shit. Like he is a big deal actor. And it's just wild that we know him more for, this and really Home Alone. 99% of people know him for Home Alone, which is, don't get me wrong, Home Alone 2, two of the greatest physical comedy performances in history, as far as I'm concerned, by Daniel Stern in those movies. But he is a homeless. It's never really hashed out exactly what's going on in AJ Shepard's life. He takes care of the local homeless community by running a soup kitchen. At a mission, kind of like basically like a little homeless shelter. He also like goes underground and takes care of people, homeless people who live like, in the sewers and in the old,
just underground
tunnels and all the tunnels and stuff underground.
Yeah.
So he takes care of them. He cooks for them. He like kind of tries to provide like help them with medical issues and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if he's just like a humanitarian. He definitely dresses like his overall vibe is that of a homeless person.
Yeah.
But he's clearly a lot more like educated. He's of sound mind, where a lot of the other ones are like suffering from mental illness. And he is like a little bit their leader. And when they call him Rev or Reverend too, I'm like, is that a pet name or is he actually like a clergyman of some sort. We're not really sure.
Yeah.
But
or is it because like he's just operating out of like an old church or something like that? And
that could be it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole thing is like, he's providing meals and all this stuff for the homeless people. And he's obviously poor himself. So
because this is what he's dedicated his life to. This is what he does.
Yeah. He's dedicated his life to this, and it's fucking America. So like, of course, there's no abundance of funds to help the poor.
Yeah. If you're going to do this, you're going to be, working poor. Right. So he's like a humanitarian guy of sorts. Right. And in the homeless community trusts him and all that sort of stuff. So that's kind of his vibe. He puts in a report to the police station about a bunch of missing people. A bunch of his people that he helps take care of have just not shown up. Right. And Bosch catches wind of this and goes out there himself to talk to AJ about it. He's basically saying all these people, specifically the people who live underground, are missing, like a dozen of them or 20 of them or something, like an alarming number. And they talk to this one guy who's like obviously like super, off his rocker, talking about like opening up the sky and all this wild stuff, who's eating at the soup kitchen, and he basically alludes to something threatening underground kind of thing. And also he has a knife of which he goes after Bosch with at some point. And they explain that all of these people are also looking for weapons because something's happening.
Mm-hmm. And he's also very clear, AJ is, he's also very clear that it's only his underground patrons that are going missing. So it's only them.
Not the people who live surface level. It's just the underground people. Yeah. This old lady, assumedly, is the one who called. She wouldn't talk to the police. She had one phone call and she called George. He goes to the police station to, bail her out, pick her up. And she had been arrested because she tried to take a cop's gun.
Hell yeah.
Which is crazy that they're just like, go home. Like, you're good. You have a suit, you have someone to come pick you up. You tried to take a cop's gun. That's all right. Just get out of here. But George goes and bails her out. She starts wiling out on people, telling people to suck a duck and all this stuff. Like she's a wild character.
I think that's one of those things. Like they probably know her very well. And so that's why they're so comfortable just letting her go. It's like,
she's harmless.
We see her all the time, and she's always yelling shit, and she's always carrying on. But I mean, what's throwing her in jail going to do? It's not going to do anything for us or her. This is back. Yeah, back when they just didn't prosecute everybody for everything.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, we're going to have you come in, cool down a little bit, then go back out on the street. This is Mrs. Monroe, by the way, is what they call her. George follows her back down to the sewer. We start to learn that these people know and trust George because he is this famous photographer. He got famous doing this like photo series about the plight of the homeless community underground. And that's what kind of put him on the map a little bit. And then that's also why they all trust him, because they know him and he's been around taking their pictures, in the past, and has always, treated them well and proved to be trustworthy and all these things.
Was this also the plot of the Midnight Meat Train? Because Bradley Cooper was a photographer. Was he chasing people underground, or did that just happen was he just a photographer by happenstance and then caught Midnight Meat Train activities?
Well, if you remember, the reason Bradley Cooper, he was like a failing photographer because he was taking pictures of boring shit, and his agent, the person at the art gallery was like, he ended up taking pictures of that guy who tried to attack him. Right. Remember? Yeah. Like that thug guy who tried to attack him or rob him or whatever.
Yeah, because it was
he showed her those pictures.
Yeah.
And then she was like, more of this. So then he went and started trying to put himself in dangerous situations to take pictures.
Okay. I couldn't remember if he was also down there photographing the homeless. Because he did photograph that gang that attacks the woman, but then then he sees Vinnie Jones chasing him for photos. I couldn't.
Yep.
But yeah, it's still
This
similar. New York, it's New York guy doing photography.
Doing photography in sketchy situations.
Getting into trouble underground.
Getting into underground trouble, of course. She explained, they explain why she's looking for a gun. You get introduced to her brother, who his name's Victor, and he's got just a bad case of meatloaf leg. Like, it's just all hacked up and all infected and fucked up, and it's because he got bit by something, and that's why he needs a gun. But he's a little delirious, and they're not sure what's going on. AJ, very skeptical of Bosch, like, hey, why did the captain come down here to talk to me about this shit? He explains that his wife has disappeared in all these disappearances, and that's why he wants to get to the bottom of it himself. And then you're like, his wife was the dog lady at the beginning, because he said she was out walking the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, AJ also knows Mrs. Monroe and Victor, and they've got like a guy who doesn't talk. I don't know if he's mute, but he doesn't really talk, and he's just like a real big burly guy who lives down there with him. His name's Hugo. AJ knows all of them, and AJ knows that they live underground, and that also there's been this EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, has been doing some sort of probe underground in this area that happens periodically, but usually only takes a week, and it's taken 4 weeks, and he's getting real suspicious of the whole thing. He also found some nuclear testing stuff, like a boot that's like that says EPA on it. and then also like a Geiger counter and just like nuclear paraphernalia underground. We get this like relatively minor thing that really didn't need to be there, but it shows that like it just adds to the stakes. But we learn that Lauren is pregnant, and they're excited about having a baby or whatever.
Yeah. Just to jump back real quick, while they're in that tunnel and they start using the Geiger counter, like, it's very obvious they're setting up that whatever is radioactive moves around, and they hear in the distance a roar. That roar, though, sounds exactly like those loud-ass public toilets, like the really powerful ones. I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that pinged me, but
the ones that feel like they're gonna suck something out of your asshole.
Yeah, I don't know why. It just sounded exactly like that. I was just like,
yeah. Yeah. So we get this guy, and it turns out it's a guy and his granddaughter. Trying to meet somebody.
Sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt again, Brian, but
no, that's right.
One of the important moments of that scene where she reveals that she is pregnant, they have this conversation about whether or not she's going to get an abortion because, she's a model. So obviously she wants to kind of keep her figure and keep working and everything like that. And in that scene, John Hurd, basically says it's your body, your choice. And I think that's the first time a chud has ever gone on record saying your body, your choice.
That's true. Usually that is not the vibe of chuds.
Yeah.
Also, I do want to say that chud, I don't know how long, it's been a long time since the first time I watched this movie. Chud has been a constant insult, probably since college. It was probably the first time I actually saw this movie. That like me, my brother, and my cousin all call each other and other people chuds like, to this day. And sometimes specifically Bud the Chud, which is of course the sequel, Chud 2, Bud the Chud.
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, a completely different thing. It has nothing to do with this movie. They just made it a sequel for some reason.
Yeah. Like Munchie and Munchies. Like if somebody, nothing to do with each other.
If somebody says something dumb, you go like, all right, Bud the Chud. Anyway, so great scene where we've got this guy trying to call somebody they're trying to meet. They're lost in the neighborhood at night with the granddaughter. He's in the phone booth, and something comes creeping up out of the sewer. It's an old chud with its long claw fingers, and we get the first face-to-face look at a chud, although just flashed on screen for a second. And a chud is humanoid. We'll learn, why that's an appropriate word for it. Humanoid figure that has a big ass neck, typically, pointy ears, glowing eyes, big weird bald head, and like long claw-like appendage fingers, and is just generally slimy and sewerish, right? And the chud kills the grandfather, spares the child, which is I always dislike that scene. I'm like, you don't think a chud would eat a little kid? He definitely would eat a little kid. He wolfed down that kid in like 3 bites. But they take the kid back to this police station. Kid said it was a monster. Okay, so now Bosch is starting to go like, what the frick is happening, right? He says that's enough. Basically does a big mission on the area. Hey, put a bunch of guys here at all the, the manholes, and send some people down there, and he's going to do some stuff.
I know it's 84, but like this is basically a shitty version of the Aliens scene where they send the Marines in, and they all have the video recorders on them. So I mean, like, yeah, it's 2 years before Aliens, and then I was also thinking about the Blob 88, which is also very similar. Like movies were obsessed with sending fucking teams into the sewers to do stuff.
And flamethrowers too.
Yeah.
Boy, they loved flamethrowers back in the 80s. We don't get enough flamethrowers nowadays. Alien franchise, everybody used flamethrowers back then. Yep. But yeah, he posts them up everywhere, calls up the chief, says, "Hey, fuck you, chief. I'm coming down to the commissioner's office, and we're gonna have a dang conversation." And he takes AJ with him, and AJ's little doodads he found down in the sewer. Bosch is just a real dummy. He's like not really approaching it well. The EPA guy's there. He's just rolling his eyes, being like this dickhead about the whole thing. The look on Daniel Stern's face this whole meeting cracks me up every time. He's just got this giant underbite. He's just staring at the EPA guy the whole time.
God, he's so fucking good in this movie. It's so funny. And it's like he's at the appropriate level of frustration in this scene.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I didn't like on rewatch is how like Bosch does not seem engaged. Like he's following kind of the clues and everything, but for somebody who somebody whose wife is missing and it seems to be very much tied to all of this stuff going on, he seems pretty he doesn't even seem to be putting the clues together in any meaningful way that would make him like more animated. And like there's I think it's earlier when they're talking about like sending guys into the tunnels or whatever, and it's just him and the NCR guy. Just they're both leaning against the same desk, and he's like flipping a pen, and it's like, dude, your wife is missing. What the fuck? What the fuck are you doing?
I remember the first time I watched this movie being the entire time going like we were talking, like you were probably drunk, you have some friends or whatever watching it, and I remember going like, his wife's not missing, he's making this shit up, it's gonna be something else, it's gonna be something else, because he's not acting like the wife's missing,
right? But
it turns out it was the wife the whole time, and he's just not really that concerned about the whole thing.
He just does not seem to put it together. I will say though, after it does get confirmed for him, the way he just turns into like a messed hair, drunk, sweating through his shirt guy. Okay, that's fine. But Daniel Stern is like at that level already. Like he's beating you to the punch, and he's the one. Yeah. Like, I don't know, man.
So that's why I'm like, I'm almost like skeptical, not skeptical, but like I'm almost a little like resistant to criticizing Bosch's performance. I think it's just bad directing. You know what I mean? Like,
could be, yeah.
Like, I don't know who Doug Cheek is, but he's who directed this. And he didn't do a whole lot of directing. He directed one other movie called Peter and Paul: The Christian Revolution, which sounds horrible. But
now Brian, that again, you're on his letterbox and you're missing all of his great TV credits.
Oh, I don't even want to know what his TV credits are.
No, because there was a good one in there. He directed he directed The Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction, if you remember.
Oh no. Yes, I do.
Yeah, from 1995. For our younger listeners, that they may not know this, but we had a little, like, when the X-Files was popular, Fox decided they wanted to capitalize on that, and they tried to do like a War of the Worlds type thing to trick everybody that they found a fucking alien body and did an autopsy on it. And it was like, I remember it being a big like TV event because it was supposed to, it was supposed to be a lead in for maybe a new season of the X-Files, or at least a new episode. And they're like, we're going to show you an alien autopsy for real. And it's like, all right, I guess. And then it's just like the worst shit you've ever seen.
Yeah, it was a bit of a cultural phenomenon at the time. And I mean, this makes a lot of sense that Doug Cheek directed that. I think Doug Cheek is like the anti-director. Like, he shows up and puts his name on things, but he's not actually doing much in the way of directing.
He's the anti-Alan Smithy. He just puts his name on stuff.
Yeah.
He's not embarrassed.
Yeah.
He just puts his name on stuff.
The worst. You tell me the worst shit that you have, and you can put my name on it.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, so AJ eventually comes in with pictures that he saw of like the bite and all this stuff, and basically threatens to go to the press with it. He doesn't have any hard evidence, but it's like, I'm going to go to the press with this. The EPA guy is just not keeping it cool at all. Murphy, you remember the reporter, tracks down George, tells him he's, you had a tail in the sewer, and, cop was following you, and basically knows, like, the sewer people, I want to do a story on this, and George is, doesn't want to. So then they're in there, and the dude does not keep it cool. I think his name's Curtis or something. He's from the EPA. He goes wild. I think at one point, AJ throws his briefcase.
Yeah.
And then some papers fall out, and they see a paper that says C.H.U.D on it. And it's, what's C.H.U.D? And the EPA guy, just fesses up and says C.H.U.D stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. And everyone's like, oh my God, like, part of you is like, oh, that's, first of all, a great acronym, right? To describe the creature, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. But you're like, why did he offer that information up so willingly? Well, he explains that the gas company just found a dead C.H.U.D that died from, they're going to do an autopsy to learn that it died from asphyxiation from sewer gas. All the powers that be are involved. AJ's getting tailed now. Some guy swallows his quarter when he tries to call the press. So they're like suppressing all of this, like takes his quarter out of the payphone and swallows it, which is a weird move. We learned that C.H.U.Ds used
just that scene is so funny because Daniel Stern looks at him at a way that is like, are you coming on to me, or like, because
he's very confused.
Yeah, there's no words spoken in that scene. It's just very funny the way Daniel Stern looks at him. He's just like, I kind of get the feeling that you're because he's in a polo shirt wearing sunglasses. So like, yeah,
he's not dressed like a cop at all.
Yeah, well, he's dressed like a G-man of some sort, but also it could just be a gay man. It could be a G-man or a gay man. So it's hard to tell.
Could be the other kind of G-man. But yeah, he swallows a quarter, and Daniel Stern looks at him like, was that a magic trick? Like, are we doing street magic here? Like, what happened?
Does it come out your ear? Or what happens next?
Yeah. We learned that the C.H.U.Ds used to be people, but were exposed to something and got turned into a dang old monsters. They're like, well, there must be more of them down here. And the EPA guys, of course, like, there's no way there's any more of them down here, And they're talking about how they need to move some nuclear materials under the city, and it got blocked because of some order, and this has been in limbo, and he just feeds them a line of shit. But we know there's some nuclear stuff happening. Obviously, we know there's radiation down there. Bosch sends a group. He's like, well, I'm sending my guys down there to move the radioactive material. And he's like, well, I'm sending my guys too. And the EPA guy's like, no, fuck you. And then when they send them down there, they send them also with a camera, like with a CCTV camera, so they can see on the surface what's happening. And they get down there, and Bosch has his flamethrower guys ready. And it's like, at this point, too late. And even at this point, the EPA guys are like, get out of here, whatever. He's like, tries to like strong arm. And he's like, your guys have, cameras. My guys have flamethrowers or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a fun line. So they go to get to the nuclear stuff that they're going to move. And they're watching it, from the CCTV camera. And this is that scene you were talking about where they're going down into the sewer with the flamethrower. Kind of a fun little scene where they're like talking back to them via walkie-talkie, but they can, obviously see them on the screen. EPA decides they want to flood the sewers with gas, which is kind of crazy. But they haven't done it yet because they got to move this stuff first, whatever. They come to something, which we don't see on screen. There's something in the darkness, whatever. Hit it with the flamethrower. And of course, everyone gets, slaughtered or something like that, right? So they don't know what happens, but the camera goes out. So the EPA guy is like, all right, I'm going to panic. I'm going to, fill the place with gas, lock up all the manholes, whatever. Val, which was the brother of Mrs. Monroe, gets killed very unceremoniously just by getting bonked on the head by a manhole cover as he's trying to come up out. I thought that was like such a I don't know. That scene didn't need to be there, but it's a weird scene.
Like, is that what happened? Like, I thought he might have got shot, but maybe he did just get bonked. I don't know. I don't know. It's not clear. And it's also just one of my problems with the movie in general is like the editing is very bad on this movie.
I'd agree with that for sure.
Yeah, I do not like the editing. I also don't care for the music much, but like,
no,
I don't know. The visual things are just not clear enough. And there was just some bad cuts. Like there's just like a lot of wild cuts in there. So yeah, I don't know. I thought he got shot because I thought I heard a gunshot in the sound, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, he might have been, and I missed that. But the thing that I honestly, we talked about Bosch like kind of being nonplussed by things. The guy that I think is just, he's not a good villain. He does do a good like villain stuff at the end, but for most of the movie, the EPA guy is just, I don't know, just dumb as hell. He's just like, they're like, hey, we can't do this. We can't fill it with gas, whatever. And he's just always, his response is always like, come on, don't be weird about it. It's fine. You're being ridiculous. I'm not stupid. You're stupid. That's not crazy. You're crazy. Like he just is always like just gaslighting, I guess, literally gaslighting people all the time just to like, they're like, you're going to blow up the whole city. It's like, no, I'm not. That's not what's going to happen. You're dumb. See, like, he never like, I don't know. He always seems very confused and frazzled. And I don't know. I think it's just, I don't like that. I don't like that performance.
I think that's what makes him perfect as a government representative. Like,
sure.
He's
just not a good he's not a good big bad. That's all.
No, he's not a good villain in like the sense of like tenting the fingers and doing evil behind the scenes. He's a fucking loser. Which is like most of people in government. They're fucking losers. And then they have to hide their crimes. Like that's all it is.
Yeah.
Like it's just flop sweating your way to hide your crimes. So I don't know. I actually really find his performance perfect because he's frustrating in the way he blocks everything. He gaslights people. He releases misinformation to hide other information. Like, I don't know. I think he perfectly encompasses a real villain. Like, yeah, he's not a Darth Vader or a Freddy Krueger or anything, but like this is the kind of shithead we have in real life, and that's what it makes him suck. And it doesn't necessarily make for an awesome movie villain, but it makes for a real movie villain.
Yeah. I guess like the thing that always bothered me about him is okay, so the next scene is like Murph and George go down there and they stumble across the like all the materials, right? And the materials say CHUD on them, the acronym.
Right.
But then they read on it that CHUD doesn't actually stand for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. It stands for, oh gosh, I wrote it down here, but what is it? It's contamination something urban. I don't know. It's basically like, I forget what the acronym is. But
it's contamination hazard urban disposal.
That's right. Contamination habit and urban disposal, which, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything.
No.
Like those words together, it sounds like you had an acronym first and then you had letters first and then decided what the acronym is, not the other way around.
They had cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller first, is what they had first, and then they had to write this other thing in to make it fit.
So the question is, why? What was the goal of coming up with the first faux acronym? You know what I mean? It was a bad strategy
to hide in like so this guy has been dumping that shit in there for a long time is the thing.
Yes.
So like he originally pitched it as we had this material come through and then it transformed some people and now we're just trying to clean that up. So that's why we got to keep it on the down low. It was just a one-time thing. But it isn't a one-time thing. It's a thing he's been doing for years. You know, he's just like, I found this fucking hole I'm just shoving all of the government waste into.
He's trying to skew the timeline, and people say, okay, I gotcha.
It's a real, I don't know him. I never been to his island. Okay, well, you know, hey, yeah, I've been in pictures with him, but it's not like we were friends. Okay, yeah, we're friends, and he was at my wedding, and we owned businesses together.
Yeah, right. Okay, so Murph gets dragged off by a chud. We knew Murph. I mean, the second you laid your eyes on Murph in this movie, you knew he was gonna fucking die. Yeah. And then AJ's down there as well. AJ stumbles upon a full like chud disco party of a bunch of them just like standing around. And then the cops find Bosch's wife's head, and Lauren finds a hanging dog in her basement within like 15 seconds of one another. And that's Bosch's dog. So we know Bosch's they come down and like find his wife's head, and then they're like, get him out of here. like, dude, you brought him down here.
What the fuck?
So Bosch is having a bad day all of a sudden, and he just decides to drink about it. So he goes to the bar, and the other cops that are with him are like, we got to take you home. Bosch does not seem upset and does not even seem drunk. And they're like, we got to let us take you home kind of thing. And he's like, no. He just kind of seems annoyed that they found his wife's head, not like distraught really in any way. Now the chuds are going after Lauren because they're getting pushed out of the sewer because they're filling it with gas, you know, like they're like closing it off and filling in areas of it with gas. So they're getting driven up to the surface apparently, because now they're after Lauren. And she is taking a shower at one point. She pokes the drain with a coat hanger, and which is two weeks in a row with coat hanger prominently featured, and blood shoots out. And it's such a weird scene because blood blasts out of the drain.
Yeah.
And part of me's like, okay, are we meant to believe a chud was like coming up the drain? Like what were we meant to think there?
I don't know. It's just it's a total separate event. She just gives her bathtub an abortion. Like that's just a separate thing that happens in New York apartments.
Yeah, that's unrelated to the chuds. Okay. But then the other thing was when she does that, the blood shoots out of the drain and she kind of doesn't react. She just kind of like grabs her face, doesn't scream. Like if you're going to do that effect with blood shooting out of the drain, you feel like you would make it a bigger deal in her reaction. But I think my theory was that the blood that shot out of the drain actually did like hit the actor in the eyes, and then that was just her natural reaction to getting blood sprayed in her eyes. Like they had the PSI turned up too high on the effect, and it just I rewound it a couple times. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that was her natural reaction to getting blood shot into her eyes, or fake blood shot into her eyes.
God damn it, Doug. Right in the eyes.
God God damn it. You didn't warn me. You said count to 3. Anyway, great scene here. We get a young John Goodman,
Hell yeah.
playing a cop, and him and his buddy cop go into a little diner to sexually harass the diner waitress. Meanwhile, chuds just lay siege to this diner. And just go wild on everybody. It's a motherfucking bloodbath in this diner. Yeah, they're all showing up street side at this point because they're getting pushed out by the gas. George, finds a bunch of the underground folks all tore up, and Victor also is like actively turning into a chud, and he has to shoot his ass. And Mrs. Monroe doesn't, of course, know what's happened, so she freaks out about it. Is about to shoot George, but then AJ comes in, hip checks her, and I'm like, oh, AJ saved him, and then I'm like, wait, they don't know each other, and then they have to have this weird little moment where it's like, oh, you're AJ, I know who you are, because they both know Bosch, I guess. I don't know. It's just
I think it's more that AJ knows George from photographing. What am I saying? Photographing. Drinking too much. Photographing.
Photographing is a great word.
He knows him from photographing the homeless in the area.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense, I guess. But Bosch finally goes off. Finally, in the last 15 minutes of this movie, starts acting towards Wilson the way you would expect him to. Starts going off on him, you son of a bitch, blah, 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 right? Lauren still has a chud on her tail, so we know that that's happening. So we're jumping back from all these characters. AJ and George are now trapped down there, and they're starting to fill the area of the sewer they're in with gas. So they end up getting, they find the toxic shit and blah, 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 all that stuff. They stumble upon a bunch of more mangled bodies, and it's the people that were down there before with the flamethrowers and everything. And they find the camera, and they find a headset. The headset is on a decapitated head, by the way, which is great.
Yeah, that's a great effect.
They take that off. Yeah. They start broadcasting back to the station trying to get in touch with somebody. They get in touch with somebody, and they're like, put Bosch on. So they get Bosch on the phone. Meanwhile, Lauren gets accosted by a chud in her apartment. And she's running around the apartment.
We're past that. You said she had a chud on her tail. I thought you had already moved to where she's downtown.
Well, no, because they're cutting back and forth because now, they're down in the, I don't know, wherever his photo.
Oh yeah, he kept all his photo shit in the basement, and then
so she's down in the basement now. Oh yeah, because that's where the opening to the I don't know, sewer or whatever is. Who knows? But yeah, she throws some photo juice in the chud's eyes, and she also finds a sword down in the basement, like a saber kind of.
Yeah.
And luckily the chud decides to give her a bigger target by extending his neck. I don't know why.
Which is the first time they did anything like that.
Yeah, we've never seen a chud do anything to mutate its body like that.
Yeah.
Any more than it already is. But it starts extending its neck and just again gives her a bigger target with her sword, and she decapitates the chud, and then the chud's head does bite her leg. It's decapitated head, but that doesn't come back. Don't worry. Bosch does get on the phone with the boys in the sewer and basically says hey, come to this manhole. I'll be there. I'll let you out. They get there. Bosch gets there. There's a truck parked on the manhole that the boys are supposed to escape from. And he's like, hey, somebody got to move this motherfucking truck off this motherfucking, manhole. Finds a guy. Just as he's going to do it, Wilson comes over don't move that truck. He confronts him about, hey, you're not a cool guy. You actually were putting the slime down in the sewers and whatever. He pulls a gun on him. Wilson. I keep saying Curtis. It's not Curtis. It's Wilson. Wilson pulls a gun on Bosch and is like, I can't let you go to press about this. And Bosch just clocks his old ass. It was so funny. It's like, just like he brings a gun, brings a fist to a gunfight, but it wins easily. Like he just clocks him. And so he goes, he's trying to save, the boys in the sewer. And there's a chud right on their heels. Wilson, as he's opening up the manhole cover, Wilson wakes up and shoots Bosch in the back, just right in the middle of the street. This end scene, although there's a couple good portions of this is one thing I did not like because there's no one around.
Yeah.
And like, this is supposed to be maybe like, a block away from all the chaos? Because we just seen before, there are like big groups of people like gathered around trying to figure out what's going on, and cops, and it's almost like there's a crowd control out there and all this stuff. But now all of a sudden there's no one there. It's literally just like the characters that we know. So he shoots Bosch. The boys do come up, George and AJ, up out of the sewer, but then Wilson tries to run them down with the truck that was parked on the manhole. And as he's charging them, AJ pulls off the greatest like Annie Oakley shit. He's got what looks like a little like snub-nosed 38.
Yeah.
Like a what do you call like a belly gun? This is like a close range gun. He shoots through the windshield, hitting Wilson as he's driving towards them from 40 yards away through the windshield.
Yeah.
Shoots him, kills him. The truck hits the manhole and explodes. And Bosch, not being dead, rolls over and is like, nice shot. And they're
Captain
like,
Bosch,
my
who did
guy.
not die.
You son of a bitch. George and Lauren kiss, not another human in sight, despite the fact that there was just a giant crowd and now a giant truck is on fire. Not another person around. The music is weird in this movie. It reminds me of like an old like 90s point and click adventure game or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like
a little bit.
It's a strange score.
Yeah, it's all over the place, and I don't think it just really like settles on one sound. Like in the shower scene where she is taking a shower and a chud is coming up from the basement, like you're breaking down the doors and everything. It starts almost like as a love theme while she's in the shower. And then it adds in some horror elements as it shows the chud coming up. But then it goes back to like a love theme, and it's just like, this is weird. And then when it attacks her in the apartment, it like, I don't know, the music's fucking weird. Yeah, I don't know. It's just not good. I don't care for it much. It doesn't add. It just distracts.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it adds a ton for sure. That's it. That is C.H.U.D. So 2 down, 1 to go. Everyone's very sick of hearing my voice. Steve, do you want to talk about a little movie from 1990?
Yes, I can do a little movie from 1990 called Tremors. Just an absolute #1 A+ top of the line film. I don't know. This is probably one of the first horror films that I saw as a kid. And
the Turner stations used to run it like on repeat.
Exactly.
Back in the day.
And also it was a PG-13 film. So like it was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true too. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So it was really easy to see this. So yeah, this was obviously one of the first ones I saw, and it plays to my kaiju affinity because I was also very much in love with, Godzilla and other big monsters at the time. Directed by Ron Underwood, who also directed City Slickers, starring Daniel Stern.
Yeah. Well, and interesting enough, Ron Underwood, I I read somewhere or saw somewhere that what's his name? The guy who plays Curly. What the hell is the guy's
Jack
name?
Palance.
Jack Palance. Jack Palance was actually supposed to be
Bert?
what
Earl?
he's supposed to be Earl. Yeah, originally. Like when they wrote it, he wrote it for Jack Palance to be Earl.
Okay. Yeah, that kind of makes,
which is kind of wild.
yeah, that kind of makes sense, but also I think it works a lot better with Fred Ward.
Oh, Fred Ward steals the
Yeah.
show. I mean, he's fantastic.
So yeah, obviously, like the cast is notable, like very recognizable when you see them. At the very top, Kevin Bacon for sure. But I think a lot of people know who Fred Ward is. Also on those TNT stations, they used to run Remo Williams a lot. And so that's a very kind of cool action film. Most notably for the fact that he plucks a dude's eyeball out through a gas mask. That fucking rules.
There's a different sect of people who will know Fred Ward most as Joe Dirt's dad.
Oh yeah.
When he goes back and finds his mom and dad,
right. Yeah.
and he's pissed off at him. He's Joe Dirt's dad.
Yeah. So, the two sides of the coin. But yeah, first thing this film does is just its immediate chemistry. Like we are introduced to Kevin Bacon standing on the side of a cliff, pissing off the side of a cliff, looking over this Nevada Southwest, landscape. And, he turns into the camera and they put up his credit and it's like, oh yes, this is a Kevin Bacon film first and foremost.
It's interesting because I love Fred Ward. I love the cast as a whole. I mean, the guy who plays the prepper gun nut guy,
Michael Gross.
He steals the show. He's also in all the sequels. Right. Kevin Bacon. I won't lie. I'm not going to try to lie. I love this movie. Kevin Bacon is almost, not quite, but almost too much for me in this movie.
I don't know. I like his kind of cartoonishness because basically what we get in this first like opening introduction is Kevin Bacon. He comes back and he finds, Fred Ward asleep in their back of their truck and, wakes him up, with this whole stampede prank. And then they started arguing about breakfast and they started arguing who's going to cook breakfast and they established the rock, paper, scissors dynamic between them. So like
Fred Ward compliments him so much that it makes it work. But, and maybe just credit Kevin Bacon for like knowing how far he can go. Maybe, I mean, obviously he's a great actor, but like, there are points where you're just like, you're almost to the point where you're annoying. Almost.
Yeah. If it was anybody else but Kevin Bacon, like if it was like a younger kid or somebody who was like a little more fresh faced or something like that, like, I don't know, even maybe Michael J. Fox. Like Michael J. Fox might have been a little bit more annoying as the character in this role.
Michael J. Fox is too good looking.
Yeah.
Like it would seem weird. Desert people are have a certain look to them.
Yeah.
And Kevin Bacon looks like he could be a desert person.
Yeah. They definitely have like the weathered skin, which everybody in this film does, with the exception of Finn Carter, who is playing, the young college student who is just kind of out there right away. Everybody else looks fucking windblown as fuck. But that's where Fred Ward comes in, because as Earl, he's very centering. Like he has his own like kind of gimmicks that are funny. The whole pardon my French stuff. Like he has his own kind of like idiosyncrasies, which like is what is endearing about both these characters. And you genuinely enjoy being around them for the most part, and which is good because you're going to spend most of your time with them. But the film starts with them kind of just arguing back and forth about how much like their lives are kind of shitty because they are in the middle of buttfuck nowhere working as they're basically TaskRabbit for the town of Perfection, Nevada.
Yeah. They do everything. They're picking up garbage, cleaning the septic tanks, everything.
Yeah. And so you get a sense of like, yeah, they have this, we're free, but also we're very poor and this town is ass.
Yeah. And like, there's 14 residents or whatever it says on the sign. And most of them don't want to be there.
Right. Yeah. Most of them are there by some sort of circumstance. I think it's only Burt Gummer and his wife, played by Reba McEntire. They are the only two that actually want to be there for sure, because they are just fucking gun nut preppers.
This movie was absolutely responsible for my nearly lifelong crush on Reba McEntire.
I mean,
just putting that out there.
She's pretty wonderful in this film. Like she is not on camera a lot, and they're not asking a whole lot of her, but she does like play a good compliment to Michael Gross, who like it's also very funny that his character is such a right-wing nut job, because before this he was known as like the dad on Family Ties. Just, like just a real, like he almost has like that Alan Arkin-ness about him.
Yeah, he was Mr. Keegan or whatever his name is on Family Ties. Alex's dad.
Yeah. So he just never come off as like a like a hard ass is what it is. But in this film, he's a total fucking psycho. But in a way that she actually is endearing.
And is perhaps needed when monsters come. The reality of people who are like that in real life is that giant worm monsters never show up.
Right.
So you just seem silly. Yeah. But then when giant worm monsters show up, you're like, I'm glad I called that guy.
Yeah, it's that fantasy. And I don't know, maybe this film did more harm than good by putting that into people's brains of like,
oh yeah, probably.
Maybe I do.
It's cool to be this guy.
Maybe
this guy was right all along.
Yeah. It's like, maybe I do need a giant gun wall, and I'll be married to Reba McEntire. I'll have a giant gun wall, and I'll have Reba McEntire, and then in the second movie, I'll be divorced, but I'll have a giant truck, and I'll live anyway.
Yeah. First you get the guns, then you get the titties. Sorry, very, very dated reference, I'm sure, already by the time this comes out.
But yeah, the films, at the beginning, we're just it doesn't even seem like a monster movie at all, because we're following Val and Earl as they do their tasks, and this is where we meet the college student Rhonda, because Val, he got word that the new intern was going to be a woman. He's like, well, she's going to be all this. She's going to be blonde and long-legged and green-haired. And they pull up, and she's just a lady. Green-eyed, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and then she's got like, she's dressed like Ugly from Salute Your Shorts. She's got the hat, the fisherman's hat, the big glob of sunscreen on her nose.
Yeah. It's not that she's ugly or anything. She's just, a lady. She's not like this.
Yeah, she's not the bombshell that he was expecting.
Right. So, but obviously by the end of the film, they're going to get together, because why else would they set it up that way? Because also, in this, Earl is, ragging on him. He's like, why are you always chasing these, useless bimbos who are, like get put off by just breaking a nail? Like, you're just chasing these women that, they don't suit you. Like, you are a person who actually, like, you're rough and tumble all the time. You need somebody who can complement that.
Yeah. She also is a little bit like the 90s trope of like a very attractive person that they just put glasses on and pull her hair up, and then they're like, wait, you took your glasses off and let your hair down? You're pretty now. Like, she's obviously a very attractive person. Like, even with they just try to make her look dorky.
Yeah, like she reminds me of Jennifer Grey a bit. But
yeah, I can see that.
But she's just a lady. It's just she's not a Playboy centerfold is all it is. Like, and that's what Val is saying he wants. But we meet this character, and then we meet a lot of the rest of the townsfolk. We meet fucking Melvin, who is just like this dickhead kid. We get to go to Walter Chang's general store, which is being run by Victor Wong, which wonderful character actor
of Three Ninjas fame, of course.
No. No.
Okay. All right.
You can say Prince of Darkness, and you can say
Three Ninjas.
Nope. You have all these other things you can go from. Nope. You pick up Three Ninjas.
Three Ninjas. I watched that movie so many times when I was like 9 years old or whenever.
But Victor Wong's pretty funny. He's enjoyable in this film. We get the sense that, hey, Val and Earl are fed up because they're taking Victor's sump pump to go pull out Melvin's shit from his fucking trailer house. And it blows up on them, and it just, squirts shit everywhere all over them.
Yeah.
And you just get a great hard cut of they're bitching about their jobs. They get sprayed in shit. Hard cut to they have packed up their entire house and are leaving.
Yeah. He's like, I always thought it was funny when Kevin Bacon he's getting all this stuff and he just gets his vacuum cleaner. Like when he's getting his shit to put in the truck, it's like he brings almost nothing, but he brings his vacuum cleaner.
All right. So they're just on their way out of the town. They've had enough of perfection. They're gonna fuck off. They try to get out of town, and they come across, a local that they know. He's run himself up just an electrical tower. I believe his name's Edgar Weems. Yeah. And they're just like, hey, that's old Weems up there. What's he doing? And they climb up and they find, it's a dead guy.
Yeah.
So gotta take the dead guy back to town. And this is a pretty good, funny 15-20 minutes in the beginning where they are just keep trying to leave town, discover somebody else who's died.
Yep.
Have to go back to town to tell everybody that person died.
And they keep showing the sign too of how many people are in town or whatever.
Yeah. Keep showing a sign of how many people is in town. And I believe the sign also says something to the effect of see you again soon. So it's you're going to be right the fuck back here.
Yep.
But in that time that they're trying to go back and forth, you're also seeing, these people die, and they're dying from, this mysterious thing. We as an audience know it's underground.
Right.
But everybody else in town doesn't know what's going on yet. And I think it's a great way that they slow roll out the monster in this film. And then monsters, because at first you see nothing. You just see ground level kind of Sam Raimi camera type shit.
Yeah.
And you see the sand shifting, and then you see people get sucked down, and and you also see the aftermath. But then you don't see the actual monster. Yeah,
it's a slow reveal. I mean, later on you get the full lot of the monsters, you know what I mean? Close-ups of them for long periods of time and all that stuff. But they don't reveal it right from the beginning. So they don't let it sink in for too much for too long. Which early on, it's got a little bit. I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but this is essentially a shark movie, right?
Yeah.
And it actually was originally going to be called Land Shark. And then SNL ended up doing that famous skit called Land Shark. And they were oh shit, we got to change the name. But originally it was going to be called Land Shark. And there's no way they didn't take some cues from Jaws, right? Of just the way they kind of introduce the monster slowly, a little bit at a time.
Yeah, they for sure did. And one of the producers on this is Galen Hurd. And so she is well known. She worked on the Aliens films, and is still producing today. And I don't know how close she worked directly with Spielberg ever, but obviously she knows what the fuck she's doing. She knows what she's a little bit taken from. So,
Yep.
But yeah, they slow roll this the reveal of the monsters, but like the after effects are pretty gruesome. Like we have a whole sheep pen that gets decimated, and it's just like a bunch of sheep everywhere.
Just parts.
You see, Val and Earl find, like, when the last time they try to leave town, the rocks have collapsed from a hillside collapse. That we see that attack, but we don't really see much of what happens. But when they get there, they see just a worker's helmet is just full of brains and mush. So but it's like cartoonish in a way. It's not anatomical in a way.
No,
that's
it's just like
disgusting.
a hunk of gore sitting there kind of thing.
Yeah,
And we also saw the two goofballs that died from that too. Like we saw them earlier, and we know that whole scene was a little bit goofy. So yeah, it doesn't play. Nothing plays mean at all.
I think that's what keeps it in that realm of like PG-13, because like, yeah, we do see gore, but it's mostly animal gore, or it is, just like undefinable. So it's never, it's never that bad. But also, we're not too far removed from PG-13 Temple of Doom, where they ripped a dude's heart out. So
that is still wild to think about. That was PG-13.
Yeah.
A still beating heart on screen.
Yeah. So, hey, you slowly, erode that rating down to no gore, but yeah, there's still some. But yeah, in this, cave-in, hillside collapse, Val and Earl have to turn back again, and they get snatched by the graboid. And this is where we get our first look at part of the monster, at least. And they they go back to the general store, and they pull off like, oh yeah, everybody comes out and sees like this giant snake monster just attached to the bumper.
Yeah.
And I like the look of the monster, and I like how real it is. And it is also just dirty and dusty.
Well, it's interesting because they, a lot of times we hear people talking, I mean, the practical effects in this movie are incredible, but a lot of times people will say like, what's even more impressive about it, which is true, is that everything is in like stark daylight. Everything you see, right?
Yeah.
But the creative thing that they did is, instead of making things, dark and wet, they just like covered a lot of things in dust.
Yeah.
Which I think had a similar effect.
Yeah,
of
it
like
does.
hiding, it just makes it feel a little real. Like you don't see all the little, imperfections in an effect if everything's covered in dust.
Right. Yeah. I not necessarily lived in. I mean, like the general store feels lived in, because it feels like every time you open the door to that general store, fucking half a cup of sand comes in with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes everything feel more, real by just covering everything in dirt and dust. And like, it's weird. I guess what's most impressive is like when the snake monsters, the snake tongues, come out of the graboid, they are both dirty and slimy at the same time.
Yeah. It's almost like they put whatever type of, very stretchy, almost elasticy, material that's going to make it look like stretchy, like saliva. But then they also feels like they make sure to cover everything in a thick layer of dirt first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes for this really grimy kind of weird texture.
Like there's two guys, and one guy dumps the slime on the snake head, and then another guy just LeBron James a bunch of dirt at the snake head.
Yeah, there was a dirt guy and there was a slime guy. Yeah.
Yeah. And they work in concert, and there was an SOP to them. Slime guy always first, then dirt guy.
Yeah. And then one time they like bumped into each other on the way to set, and they were like, "You got slime in my dirt. You got dirt in my slime." And it was a real Reese's Cup situation.
Just a real mishap.
Yeah.
So one of the few, after they bring the snakehead back to town, we actually get one of the few night scenes and night attacks. Is, there's this doctor and his wife, and they're apparently building their own house on the outskirts of town, and they get attacked and like dragged in. And like, now that we've seen the snake monster attached to the car, now we can see it in this attack scene, because we see all the snakeheads come out and attack the woman and like break the windows on her station wagon, and then dig out the underneath of her station wagon and drop her down. And I always love that kind of, like, it's not just the monster attacking you, but there's something unpleasant about the way the car is filling up with sand that is also like choking and claustrophobic. So I think this is probably, the scariest scene of the movie. Yep. If you were to be scared by something, because everything else, like you said, is stark daylight. So it's hard to be scared when, like, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's so blue. Like, yeah.
That the scene, that scene, but then also the scene which we're about to get to, which is when they go find him and they uncover the car that's buried, basically like headlights up, and the headlights are still on.
Yeah.
Something about that as a kid really stuck with me. And honestly, as just like a white trash kid who just like really had an affinity for digging holes, I feel like I was just like, wow, that was what a great hole that must have been to put a car in that way and have the headlights up. I just think I was impressed by the hole.
Yeah, what a great big hole they must have dug. And it's like, no, it's still pretty surface level. They just put a grill and a light, but
don't tell 8-year-old me that watching this on TNT at 3:30 p.m. on a Saturday. I'm like, wow, what a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, no, of course. I mean, I also put cars in my sandbox the same way. So
yeah, it's movie magic to me.
Yeah. But yeah, the town, realizing that they're trapped, they, at the general store, they're having a discussion, and I like the way those scenes play out, because it's a lot of people just stepping on top of each other. It's a lot of arguing, and Val and Earl are just sitting at the counter trying to enjoy a Pepsi. All they wanted was a Pepsi. But
yeah, come on. Imagine how refreshing a Pepsi is in that environment.
Yeah. But they get volunteered to ride horses out of town, because they're the only ones who know how to ride horses. And so, yeah, they are the ones that come upon this, buried car. And then as they ride out even further, their horses get attacked and pulled down. And this is like kind of a crazy scene with, like, there's some stunt work with the horses bucking the riders. Yep. And then they had to like get a horse. I assume they sedated a horse or something to like bite it with the snake puppets.
Yeah, I do not know. That was a great, I thought about that. I'm always very impressed by horse stunts, which is like something people have been doing for, hundreds and hundreds of years, but just like thousands of years doing like, training horses and stuff. But like, I'm always so impressed by horse stunts. I'm like, did that horse really die?
Yeah. I'm impressed by them too, because horses are basically like 4-legged guns. Like
they're so big and strong and dangerous. Terrifying.
It takes one kick and they fucking kick your fucking head in. Yeah. So like, how do you get it to not only stop doing that, but also lay down to get bit by snakes and have a bunch of fucking fake blood poured all over them and shit? So yeah, I don't know.
Burn scenes, full body burns, and horse stunts. That'll get you extra points.
Hell yeah. Unfortunately, there's no burn scenes in this movie, but horse stunts.
It's a real missed opportunity.
Calling back to the early days, this has got a good horse score on it.
It does have a good horse score.
So yeah, after this horse attack, though, I love the scene where the monster finally kind of reveals itself as not just a bunch of little snakes, but as a giant worm type thing with tusks and everything. And it chases Val and Earl into this ravine, and they go to make the jump of the ravine and they just hit the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
And then the graboid smashes itself into the wall and kills itself. And Val is so hyped on the fact that they killed it. And it's like, you didn't kill it. It killed itself. You didn't even make the jump of the ravine.
This is one of those scenes where I'm like, okay, dial it back. You're very much at risk of fucking annoying me.
See,
this is like
know.
a famous scene. Like, this is a really famous, like, his reaction to it. I forget the line, but it's one of the more, probably quoted lines in the movie.
Well, he does just give it a straight fuck you.
That's right. It's fuck you. Yeah. But he's like very animated, very cartoonish about the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's more to it. Like, but they're both kind of stunned. They're like, you knocked it out. And he's like, yeah, we did it. We killed it. But yeah, he just straight up gives it a straight fuck you and starts laughing. And then they get startled by Rhonda sneaking up behind them.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh yeah. Then Rhonda sees what the fuck's going on. So this leads to the next scene where they get kind of trapped on the rocks. And I like that they take the time to try and anti-explain what the monster is.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the things that, like, not just the monster design, but the total disinterest for the most part of what the monster is like, just makes me laugh. Like, the only person who actually is interested in what the monster is, where it comes from and everything, is Rhonda.
Yeah. Everybody
else has theories, or they could not give less of a shit. like,
yeah. I love that. Like, also, I think there's a line. I don't remember what the line is, but she even says, he's like, what do you think it's going to, he asks something about the creature. Like, what do you think it's going to do next? Whatever. She's like, why do you keep asking me like I know what this thing is? Like, he just says reserved him. He's just like reserved to Kevin Bacon's character, reserved to just like, oh, she's got it. It's a giant worm. Like, we get it. We're past that.
Yeah, like it started that specific line happens later, but it does start in the scene where they're trapped on the rocks, where like Earl is theorizing it comes from outer space, and Val's thinking it's some sort of mutant, and she is like, well, it could be like something like it's not in any of the fossil records, so it predates the fossil records, so that means it's been around for billions of years, but we've never seen it. And so, like, it's just a whole bunch of like conjecture that they don't know what the fuck's going on. And the way they treat her, it reminded me of a scene in Cannibal the Musical.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, I started saying that, but then I was like, no, Cannibal the Musical. I don't know if you've seen that movie or seen it recently. Okay,
probably in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years.
Okay. Well, there's a scene where they're all out trapped in the snow together, and they're getting ready to, cut up and eat their first person. And they have with them the one guy who's a butcher. And they're like, well, how do we go about this? And somebody just holds out a meat cleaver to the butcher, and he goes, you're a butcher? So butch.
Yeah, I remember that line.
Just a silly line. But like, I was just thinking about that line because the way they treat her is like, well, you're a scientist, so science.
Yeah, pretty much. Tell me science.
Yeah. She also tries to explain to both Val and Earl how she knows there's more than one of these things. And they just cut off her exposition with just like, yeah, we believe you. Like they have no interest in the science behind how she figured out there's more than one of these things and which way they're headed and all of that. She's just like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yeah, listen,
like,
these are just fucking rednecks who were just cleaning shit a few hours ago. They don't give a shit. Just like, all right, how do we kill it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's explaining chess to pigeons. Who cares? Like,
yeah.
And that's one of the things I do love about this film is like, this film is so very working class in that, like, again, like they don't care where the monster comes from. They don't really care about the science behind tracking the monsters or anything. They just want to get the fuck out of town and or kill the things if they can.
Yeah.
The little fun pole vaulting scene, and then they get to her truck and they go back to the town, and everybody's on edge, and the town gets attacked by the graboids. This also leads us to Burt Gummer and his wife, and they're trying to talk to the people in town, because as the town's getting attacked, everybody gets up on the roofs, they see it, and Burt and his wife are, what is that they're shuffling the shells in?
It's a cartridge like cleaner.
Okay, yeah,
because they must repack their own cartridges.
Yeah, I figured they reshelled their own cartridges. It's just like, I was like, they put it into a tumbler full of sand. I was like, what is that doing actually?
Yeah, I think it's like a clean, it like cleans the cartridges, I think.
Yeah. But yeah, they're running this loud ass piece of machinery, and while they're doing that, you have, everybody at the general store on the CB radio trying to tell them, get out of the house. It's going to come through the walls. And this is one of my favorite scenes as well, is because it's so out of place for usual monster movies that this giant monstrous worm busts down a cinder block wall.
Yeah.
And Burt and his wife both have rifles, and they're shooting at the monster, and both their rifles empty. And usually in that moment you go, oh shit, they're in trouble. But then they back up and the camera follows them to reveal the wall of guns. And that's such as good. Like, I don't know. It's a good reveal. It's a good filmmaking thing. I loved it.
Yeah. You just see that they have like, I don't know, probably 50 or 75 guns on the wall. And then the even bigger reveal is they have the like break in charge of emergency case. That is like the elephant gun. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 4-bore double shot fucking elephant gun.
Yeah.
And it's so big and so loud that even at that point, Reba throws down her guns to cover her ears when he shoots that indoors.
Yeah. And then you get the fame, probably one of the, I mean, certainly his most famous line. Like this scene and this line is probably the reason that got him, to be a bigger part in the sequels. And then ultimately probably, because there's, I don't know, 6 or 7 fucking sequels to this movie probably. And he's in every one of, he's the only cast member that's in every one of them. And I think it all stems from this scene. Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, after they finally kill it, like and this is like what usually doesn't happen in a monster movie. You usually don't get to shoot the monster down. Like, but yeah, like with enough bullets, they actually do shoot the monster down. Yep. And he's like, he's out of breath, heaving chest, and he's backed into a corner, just like completely frazzled. And he just goes, broke into the wrong rec room, did ya?
Yeah.
Wonderful characters, and it's hard to believe, like you're rooting for these characters, you like them. Pretty much the only character you don't like is Melvin. He's such a piece of shit.
Yeah, he's the guy you don't like.
But he's also, I don't know, he predates that shitty kid from Jurassic Park, but I bet like they're the same shitty kid.
That kid from Jurassic Park, I remember going down a rabbit hole at some point of like what that kid looks like now. It's weird. It looks weird to see him as an adult.
Oh yeah, we went through that because wasn't he in a movie? He was in another movie.
Oh, was that on the show? I thought that was just a thing I did laying in bed one night, but yeah, that makes sense.
Well, no, I think you did do that, but like we went over this before because you mentioned it, but we talked about that kid before because he was in a movie that we watched, I believe. But yeah,
man, I'm trying to
this definitely came up on the show before.
Not that this is relevant at all, but now I'm trying to find his face.
Oh, he was in Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. He was the Freddy kid stand-in.
Oh, okay.
That's why
Gotcha.
we were taught. That's why we were talking about it, because we did do it on the show. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, now he looks like a normal guy, but there was a point when he was like an adult, but not like middle aged yet, when he really looked like a fucking weird guy.
He looked like the kid from Children of the Corn. He had that kind of look about him.
Well, especially where it always looks like he has like eyeliner on, even when he doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got those like sunken, crazy eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, back to Tremors. Enough of that shitty kid. We have our own shitty kid in Melvin.
Yeah.
Who, like, I know. Again, it's a PG-13 movie, so like nothing's going to happen to Melvin's sister. That while she's on the pogo stick and everything, like they weren't going to kill a kid in like that. But I don't know, something about Melvin is just like, you want something to happen to him, or like some sort of comeuppance or whatever. He gets it a little bit because he's like bouncing a basketball and the graboid deflates it and then bites his leg and chases him up a light pole. But yeah, otherwise, I don't know.
He doesn't get scared. You want him to get scared more than that.
Yeah. Like he gets harassed, but I don't know. There's just no moment of like mortal danger that you really, feel like that character should get. So
yeah.
They come up with a great plan that they're gonna ride the caterpillar bulldozer that was earlier in the film. They're gonna ride that out of town while dragging a busted open semi-tank trailer. Then they're gonna ride that into the hills, into the mountains. This is another just good camera reveal, because they're like, yeah, we can just get out there and run to the cat and everything. And it's this deep focus shot of the caterpillar, and then they do a rack zoom to pull out and show how far it is, which is just a funny gag. But yeah, you have a tense moment of Val running out and the snake. Like, it's just good puppet work, because as Val's running out, he's getting chased by two graboids. They bust out from the ground on either end, and you have some of the snake heads like hunting around his boot, which I don't know. It's just good puppet work. The way they bite at him.
The way they mixed it in as like, I remember looking this up at one point. The editing in this movie is amazing. Mm-hmm. The way, like, speaking in contrast to the editing of the previous movie, like the way they're able to edit it in such a way where you do not notice where they switch from a giant like puppet to a hand puppet is really impressive. Even within the same scene, like the scene when they're in the basement, or not the basement, the rec room, whatever they call it, when it busts into their house, there are shots where it is the big, man with a full human man in there, like controlling it. And then there's ones where it's a hand puppet in the same scene, and you don't even notice when they switch.
Yeah, you don't know the switch between the two of them. There is an uncredited credit on IMDb for Tom Woodruff Jr. as the graboid. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think like there is a little bit of compositing in that rec room scene where you can tell that Bert and Reba aren't a part of the same space as the puppet at one point. But it's so they can share the frame. But yeah, other than that, like, it's pretty seamless throughout this whole movie, and you can't tell like what's what. They mostly isolate the puppets from the actors, and when the actors are acting, they're getting chased, and you just see the dust kicking up behind them, or like the sand moving. But yeah, I mean, it's playing like we already said, it's playing with a lot of jaws in this. They take the cat out, they get into the hills, but they're getting smarter, and they dig a trap, and the graboids dug a hole, and the caterpillar falls in the holes, and now they got to run up on the rocks. But don't worry, Bert is a psychopath, and he fucking made a bunch of pipe bombs.
Like a ton of them.
Yeah. Like the one thing is the way
like 2 dozen pipe bombs at least.
Yeah. Too many pipe bombs. The one thing I'll say is he's a little too animated with his pipe bombs, because when they pick him up at his house on the cat, he throws a pipe bomb into a bag of pipe bombs. And it's like, I don't know about that one, dude. I don't know about
Yeah. I don't know if I'd just be tossing pipe bombs around like that.
Yeah. And then he throws the whole bag of pipe bombs, at the group of people. And it's like, you're a little loosey-goosey with those. You're not exactly, I don't know.
Munitions expert over here.
Yeah. I don't know what the equivalent of trigger discipline is, but you're not exercising it with your explosives.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they find a little fun, they do blow up one of the Tremors with a little fishing scheme, dragging it across the ground, and it blows up, and you get a kind of a good Ghostbusters moment of showering everybody in graboid guts. And you have them, Val and Earl have been playing this game of who's got the lighter through most of the movie. Like,
mm-hmm.
it's mostly been Earl's. He's been, because he smokes. But they've been switching off, as like sometimes one of them lights a fuse and one of them doesn't, and then it somehow that they lose track of their own lighter is essentially what it is. It's just a silly little gag that they've done to themselves, mm-hmm. because the lighter finds its way to Rhonda. And at the very end, Val comes up with this plan that he's going to, doesn't enunciate to anybody. He's just going to take off running with a pipe bomb in his hand.
Yeah.
And Earl chases him down because Earl thinks he has the lighter to light the pipe bomb. But no, Rhonda actually has the lighter, and she has to chase them both down. But Val's plan is that he's going to stand at the edge of the cliff, throw the pipe bomb, and the explosion and the noise created from the pipe bomb causes the graboid to rocket forward and escape the noise as fast as possible because it hurts them. And it launches itself out through the cliffside, and it tumbles down, and you get this fucking awesome full puppet splat that, like, yeah. I can't think of too many other movies that really do that, and I can't think of one offhand.
Yeah, I can't think of one either. This is probably the coolest effect, and I couldn't believe, I remember reading about this at some point. It took them multiple takes too, because they couldn't get it to like come through and like fall and splat. So they kept having to do it. Apparently this was a nightmare scene to shoot, but they did eventually get it to work. And it looks really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently this was like, took like multiple takes to get it to happen.
Yeah. I totally believe that. Like, yeah, it looks like such a pain in the ass, but it's one of those things that pays off so well that it's obviously worth it. And obviously they would never cut anything like that.
Well, and it also looks like little, like you think that the graboids are going to be like longer than that. You know what I mean? But they're like almost, the proportions are like that of like more like a grub worm than a snake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have like almost a stubby cigar look to them.
Yeah. I remember that. I just remember that as a kid going like, oh, they're short. I thought that they were really long.
Yeah. You expected like,
because you just see their heads pop out, all the other times.
Mm-hmm. I think it's because like we probably mostly associated them with the sandworm and Beetlejuice.
Yep.
And like
sure. I'm sure I did.
Yeah. And those things were so long, and they also stood so tall over top of, Beetlejuice in the one scene, or Beetlejuice when he gets eaten at the end. So like, yeah, you assume that this is also going to be really long, but it's not. It's just like a stubby little grub.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the end of the film. We wrap up with Val and Earl. They're still going to leave town, and, they're ready to go. But hey, Val's going to put his best foot forward, and he's, going to go up to Rhonda and give her a big smackaroo on the lips.
Yeah. which was I remember this part too. That was a reshoot because originally they just drove away. They didn't do the him coming back and smooching her, but they ended up reshooting it to add that in because the American audience has got to listen, especially after you have a movie like that with the ending that you have. For him not to go back and give her a smooch seems a little weird.
I guess, but I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. I think it's funnier if he doesn't.
For him to just fuck off, yeah.
Yeah, like the whole point was for them to fuck off, and that he's not interested in her because she doesn't fit his type. So it would be funny for him to not grow that way. Like he can grow other ways of like appreciating how to, make a plan or be selfless. The way like he saves Mindy on the pogo stick, and the way he, tries to keep Earl from running to the cat, and the way he, does this kind of last sacrifice at the end. So like, yeah, it's cool to like make him a selfless character, but then also just be like, yeah, I'm still not interested in her, dude, just because. Like that's
yeah.
But that's Tremors. Movie
That
rules.
That is Tremors. The movie does roll. All right. Well, here we are, right? What are we gonna do? Are we taking it straight to the vote, or do we want to discuss our favorites here first?
I mean, yeah, we can talk a little bit about what we like the most. I have a feeling, I think we know this is probably going to wind up on the Instagram. I can't imagine you're going to go against Brain Damage for Tremors, even though Tremors does rule. You've already said Brain Damage is your top 10.
I love Brain Damage. And yeah, listen, if we're going to sit here and talk about like technical filmmaking and everything, like, yes, it's going to go to Tremors, but that's not what I'm talking about. And I refuse to bend to your will. I love Brain Damage. I think Tremors is great. I don't think it's scary or disturbing or anything like that, which you don't need in a monster movie, right?
No.
But I like weird movies, right? And at this point in my life, the weirdness and unpredictable nature of Brain Damage is more appealing to me for whatever reason. If I'm going to go second, though, although I do really like C.H.U.D, I think I like it probably more than you. It's not Tremors, right?
Yeah,
There's no way I can pick it over Tremors. For the story, for the performances, as much as I love
Daniel Stern.
Yeah, I almost want to say David Stern, former commissioner of the NBA.
No. I know.
As much as I love his performance and the weirdness and the creature design and everything of C.H.U.D, it's not Tremors. So yeah, I got to go Tremors as my number 2.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like C.H.U.D, I don't dislike C.H.U.D. It's just not my favorite for a lot of reasons. Like, like I don't know. Blob 88 is like a better underground monster film. Yeah, I don't know. There's just like, there's a lot of things in C.H.U.D that you can find in other movies done better. And I like the way C.H.U.D starts out as like a sort of serious movie. Because like John Hurt is good and Kim Grice, they're good. Like both of their performances are good and believable. And Daniel Stern is fucking A+, like knocks it out of the park. And then you see kind of this hokey ass, trauma monster, and it's like, this doesn't gel. This doesn't, like, that's what it is. Like the film doesn't gel. Like like the editing is bad, the music is weird, and the monsters don't gel with the performances. So it's like, yeah,
I like the monsters more than you. I get it. They're weird. They're not great, but I don't know. I've always been a fan of the C.H.U.D design, and also just I'm a sucker for a catchy name. It's a C.H.U.D. I mean,
it's a great name. Yeah.
Graboid, as cool, much cooler as those monsters are, it's a terrible name for a monster. Graboid, I get it.
Graboid again. So this is what part makes Tremors an anti-monster movie, because nobody cares where it comes from, and they give it a dumb name because it's named by the townspeople.
By the townspeople, I know, and the movie, it's in there, and yeah, I get it. It's just, come on, Graboid.
It's fucking stupid. It sounds like,
call it a chud. Call it a chud. All monsters should be chuds.
All monsters are chuds.
Yeah,
but not all chuds are monsters, I guess. But maybe
that would be a funny. That's a T-shirt design. It's like the crying. The crying Indian, Native American.
Yeah.
But it just says all monsters are chuds. Not all chuds are monsters, and it's just got a chud with one single tear. Doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Nope.
Just add to our list of unwearable T-shirts. All right. Well, it sounds like we're going to the socials as per expected on this with our Patreon episode. So when you go this week to vote on our Showdown topic for February, take a second and vote on who you think should take home that Son of a Bitch Championship strap for January. Whether you like a Chud, whether you like a Tremor, or whether you like Aylmer. And or a good old Aylmer. Okay. And also, oh boy, what else was I just going to mention? Shit, I almost forgot.
I don't know.
Damn it. I don't know. I was going to mention something else and it just slipped my mind.
Cool.
I have not eaten enough, have not drank enough, and I'm tired as fuck. So I cannot remember what the fuck I was just about to say. My last thing I was going to mention. Go check out patreon.com/Halloween is Forever. I'm really excited to record our first episode of the of God is Not Forever, our new podcast, Patreon exclusive podcast series. I don't know if we mentioned at the top. I don't think we did.
We didn't mention what movie. No.
What movie we're going to watch, which is, oh gosh, now I've forgotten what it is.
It's Altered States.
Altered States. That's right. God, my brain is just mush right now. We are going to watch Altered States from 1980 something. Go look
1980
up
proper.
Got 1980 aught. Go check out Altered States and then go subscribe to the Patreon and listen to us talk about how we're going to use it to better prepare ourselves to fight and ultimately defeat God. That's our plan.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, Steve, before we wrap up this here Showdown episode?
No, I did want to point out that, even though it, like, the CHUD design is fine, I don't think it compares to either a Graboid or Aylmer. Those are truly unique creatures, and I think they best represent the Neo monster flicks, so people should keep that in mind as they vote. But also, don't vote for brain damage, because I want to win. I want to stay champ.
But also, but don't you remember when he grew his neck? That was cool, right?
What did he do that for?
It's terrible. I have no fucking idea why he did that. I remembered what I was going to say earlier that I completely forgot, which was remember what you vote for is ultimately going to determine who is going to come up with our punishment movie. Mm-hmm. So that's something to consider.
I can promise it won't be another film in New York if I win.
Yeah, we've had a real, like I said, we've been really back in that New York groove lately, so maybe we'll switch it up. Okay, well, I guess for the Halloween's Forever crew, I'm Brian.
And I'm Steve.
And we're both chuds. All right, bye.